And hello and welcome everyone to our daily Limbus Company Mirror Dungeon and book reading. Whoever you are, whatever you're watching for, or whenever you're watching this stream. Now, after yesterday's little ramble session about the future of the channel, have come to a few conclusions. Like I said before, we're gonna keep going with these streams until we reach the 90th episode, and then we're gonna make a decision. For now, we are going to continue our book reading as usual. At the end of every episode, we're still going to do our mirror dungeon for 5 floors every day with units that I either choose or you recommend to me. And that's pretty much it, how we're going to handle things. Of course, on the weekends, there's going to be something more special, like either tabletop or something else entirely. We'll see. This weekend will definitely be tabletop because I am going to be the GM. Back to being the GM again. So let us begin. Today's thing is going to be one that has been requested to me, and the main thing about this thing is coin power down, a very, very, very powerful debuff that is incredibly rare. So rare, in fact, that there is only 4 units in the entire game that we can use that have this debuff, and 3 of them are double zeros, and 1 of them is a 000 from Walpurgis Night. So, without any further ado, let's examine them, shall we? Here we go. We're going to start with Ncorp Kleinhammer from Season 1, Heathcliff. He has 232 HP, 3 to 7 speed, 61 defense level, fatal to blunt, resistant against slash, possesses the sin of envy, gloom, and lust with a gloom block. His passive is garbage. When an ally is defeated, he loses 10 SP and gains 1 blunt damage power up next turn. If 4 more surviving units in the team, including his unit, are Ncorp Fanatics, coin power +1. Now, the first part is kind of shit, but the second part is kind of good. He gains coin power +1 by simply existing in a team that are Ncorp Fanatics. And he very much need that coin power up, because his skills are, well, it is a Season 1 ID, so they don't have good escalation at all. Skill 1 is a 3 base power, 4 coin power, 2 coins, Envy Pierce with a 60 offense level. It inflicts nails, it inflicts bleed, but has no escalation whatsoever. It's a classic 11 roller with nothing really that, that powerful. So, I'm trying to to optimize my audio, so I'm gonna lower my volume a little bit more. Limbus is muted. Thank God I noticed that before we started. So, 11 roller, no escalation, base offense level, is quite a terrible skill. Skill 2, which is what we want here. Purify, has a 6 base power with an 8 coin power, making this a 14 roller with no escalation. But, on heads hit, it inflicts 2 plus coin drop. Now that's a debuff. If you do not understand what coin drop is, allow me to explain it real quick. When you apply plus coin drop on an enemy, every coin in every skill they use that turn will receive a -2. If said coin has, say, 1 power, it goes into the negatives, I think. I don't know if it can go into the negative, actually. We're gonna find that out today. And for every subsequent coin, it's just gonna keep piling it on. It is very powerful. His skill 3 is Infirm Retribution with a 4 base power, 4 coin power, 3 coins. It is a 16 roller blunt lust with an attack weight of 1, and it just deals bonus damage on every hit, which is okay, I guess. It's rolls about the baseline of a skill 2 nowadays, but no escalation, and it's a 00 ID, so what can you expect? Hello, Acidic Trauma, how are you doing? His defense has nothing special as well. He has a defense level above his base defense level and a 16 guard. Right, let's equip some eagles into him, because why not? The only connecting keyword between all of these units that we're going to be deploying today is bleed. Bleed on the middle brother, bleed on the criminal captain, and bleed on the Ncorp. Faust is tremor blunt, so we cannot use bleed on her. So we are going to be focusing on bleed gifts. Let's equip some ego here real quick. We're gonna go with Binds, AD, and Sunyata. Sunyata gives us more HP, we recover from staggered. It's pretty good. I like it. Or we can take a symmetrical inertia, which would... Do you reorder the Blade of House of Spiders floor 15 run? Very nice. I should do that sometime too, now that I have another Nerf powder to feed her. And I do need to get the achievement of 20,000 damage. Alright, now we understand that Encore Clawing Hammer Heathcliff applies 2 coin drop on his skill 2. Let's check out Gregor real quick. Gregor, here, Kurokumo Clan Captain, has 232 HP, 46 speed, 61 defense level, fatal against blunt, resistant against spears, has the sins of sloth, lust, gloom with a lust block. His passive is inflicting more bleed on 3 times per turn, not really that great. His skill 1 has 10 power, 5 base, 5 coin, with a slash sloth affinity. It has a bit of more clash power if the target's full of bleed, and it inflicts additional bleed and a single bleed count, which is not bad at all. Shadow Cloud, on the other hand, has a 5 base power with 5 coin power on 2 coins. This is a 15 roller, almost a 16, which is your baseline for skill 2s nowadays. It is a blunt lust skill with a 62 offense level. It gains clash power if the target has more than 7 bleed. It inflicts offense level down and attack power down, which is very nice. And finally, the skill 3, which is what we want here. Shadow Cloud Shattercleave. 4 base power with 3 coin power, 3 coins, making this a 9 and a 13 roller. Way below a skill 3, but again, it's a 0/0 ID, we don't expect much of her. If the target has if the target has 7 bleed, he gains clash power, and if the target has 10 bleed, he gains additional coin power, making this 13 roller become a 16 roller, which is again base power. On hit, it inflicts a lot of offense level down, 1-2, 1-2 if the target has bleed, and if the target has 7 bleed, we apply another plus coin drop, which is again the focus of today's stream. I don't feed her Nurse Fathers, because I don't know if she becomes more powerful, she can already do without the Nurse Fathers. She becomes horridly broken if you feed her Nurse Fathers. She gains additional skill slots, by the way. Oh. Sorry. Love me oranges. Alright. Gregor is very simple. Let's move on to Merso. Merso this is my favorite support unit because it just gives us sanity if you have a team of the same characters. I love him. I use him in the middle team as well. I don't see why people complain about him. Sure, his skill tree is not the best for the middle since it's a ref one, but still it's a very good idea. I think it's a good idea. Has 251 HP, 4-6 speed, 63 defense level, blunt resistant but fatal to slash, possesses the sin of sloth and the wrath with a wrath counter because it's the middle. His passive is we apply Vengeance Mark on the unit that does the most skill damage to an ally, and if the main target has Vengeance Mark, he gains additional power, +1. If there's another surviving ally from the middle other than this unit and the surviving ally from the middle with the least SP both use 6 SP at very turn end. Which is, again, he's just a sanity healing machine. It's really, really good. Skill 1 gives him damage up, if he loses the clash, he does not have an escalation on it. It's a nice 11 roller with 4 coin power, 3 base. Blunt Sloth inflicts 2 bleed. Skill 2, Chains of Loyalty, gains envy power up to 2 allies adjacent to this unit on the dashboard, and apply 1 envy damage up as well when selecting envy affinity skills from the affected skill slots. It has a power of 14, 5 coin power with 2 coins, and a 4 base power, Blunt Envy. This his skill here and his passive is what makes worth bringing the middle little brother as your middle team character, because he is a perfect example of what I say here on the channel sometimes, what a 00 ID should be. He has support for his other team members. He gives envy power up to 2 allies on combat start, and if they are envy skills, they give an envy damage up as well. So it is crazy good. It gives 1 power for 2 allies and 10% more damage by just using that skill. There's no catch, there is no nothing. Just use the purple skill and it gives everyone a buff just by existing. It's very nice. Finally, skill 3 recording, which is going to be the focus of today because of our team. Has a 4 base power, 3 coin power. 3 coins, making this a 13 roller with Blunt Wrath Affinity, 63 offense level. At 4 envy resonance, he gains additional coin power. At 6+, he gains additional coin power. That means this attack can become a 4/4/4/4, a 16, and then it can become a 19. It doesn't roll super hard, but what can you do? If we hit the target that has the Vengeance mark, we inflict a singular plus coin drop. If the target has Vengeance mark, we inflict 2 envy fragility. And his counter gains additional coin power at high resonance, which is very nice. Let's equip some ego onto him, because why not? Now you may be thinking, G4, coin power down. That is a very powerful debuff that we're going to be using today. Is there any ego that apply coin power down? Yes, there is, but it is exclusive for Ryoshu, and Ryoshu has no ID that gives coin power down as well, so we're not going to use her. Unfortunate, but that's the way it is. Pursuance, Regret, and Yuri Markala. Oh, Crush Bond Pounce is actually better. Finally, we are going to be looking at the main fighter of this team, the ID with lots of AoE, lots of power. You know, it's going to be our mainline fighter. Lobotomy, Ego, Regret, Oust. Walpurgis Knight, first Walpurgis Knight. This unit has 251 HP, 3 to 6 speed, 61 defense level. She is fatal to pierce and resistant against slash. She possesses the sins of Sloth, Pride, Wrath with a Gloom counter. Her passive is Coerced Regret. In a clash, target's clash power -1 for every 3 types of negative effect it has, maximum of -2 clash power. When this unit is alive, enemy is affected by Tremor Burst, gain 2 defense level down. Mental Corruption. If at less than 25 SP at turn end, she gains 2 bind and 1 blunt power up next turn. This here alone is crazy. Just by existing, this Faust makes anyone that gets affected by Tremor Burst gain defense level down, making her a mainstay in another Tremor team. Simply by existing, she's already reduced the enemy's ability to resist damage, which is very good. And she has a good clashing ability if the enemy has a lot of negative effects on it, which, considering the Mirror Dungeon, they will have a lot of it. Skill 1, Contracting Straitjacket, has 4 base power, 7 coin power on a single coin, Blunt Sloth Affinity with a 63 offense level. This one is a 11 roller with no escalation. On use and on clash lose, we gain 3 tremor count, and on hit we gain an additional tremor count while inflicting 3 tremor count on the enemy. It's very important to understand this tremor counts here that we gain, because it is our charge to use our skill 2 and 3 as AoE. Skill 2, Metallic Ringing, 4 base power with 4 coin power, 3 coins. This skill is a baseline 16 roller, but it has no escalation. Most modern IDs that we get released follow the pattern of skill 1 having 11 power, considering that you're rolling heads, all heads and all coins, has a baseline of 11, 16, and then whatever on skill 3. But usually these skills have some form of escalation, either through power, clash, coin power, whatever. This ID does not have escalation on its skill 1 and 2, meaning the maximum it can roll without considering things like external effects that increase its power or offense level calculations. It's always going to be rolling a 11 or a 16, right? Combat Start, consume 5 tremor count on self and gain 1 attack weight for this skill. Now, very important clause here, Combat Start. You cannot gain the tremor by using skill 1, for example, before using your skill 2 to do the AoE. When you are selecting your skills to use this skill 2 or skill 3, you must have the tremor count to be able to use this effect. If you do not, it simply does not work. This skill has an AoE of 2 if you have 5 tremor count. On use, she gains 4, and on hitting the enemies, we inflict offense level down and plus coin drop, which is again our focus of the day, and it is on an AoE, so it is going to be very, very nice. Finally, we have Unleashed Violence, which is her skill 3. 3 base power, 5 coin power, 3 coins. Blunt Wrath Affinity, with 3 coins of 5 coin power, we have a 15. With a base power of 3, we have a 18. It consumes 5 tremor count on self to gain attack weight for this skill to a maximum of 2. So if we have 10, we can do additional AoE. It deals more damage based on the every type of negative effect on target, a maximum of 30%, and on kill, she gains tremor count. This extra damage for every type of negative effect is very common on the ring units, and so she can sort of pair up with them to some degree. We inflict Tremor Burst on the first, second, and third attack, and we only on the third one that we reduce the count. And as well, we deal extra damage based on how much we raise their stagger threshold when we Tremor Bursted them. It is incredibly powerful. The only downside of this unit really is the fact that she has no escalation. But she does gain some, remove the target clash power based on negative effects on it. So in a certain way, it has some degree of escalation. Finally, we have the counter, which is a 9 base power to 6 coin power, a 15 roller blunt gloom that makes her gain 6 tremor count, which is what we need for skill 2 and halfway through the skill 3. All right, let's equip some ego onto her. She has fluid sac for healing. Wow, she only has a single wow, and Tef, we're gonna go with Hexnail. All right. We have done reviewing every single unit that we're going to be using today and how can we apply our plus coin drop on the enemy. For Heathcliff is his skill 2, no conditionals. For Gregor is his skill 3. For Mersault is also his skill 3, but only against an enemy that has Vengeance Mark. And finally for Faust, it is on her skill 2, and you can make that an AoE as well. Now, we are mostly a blunt bleed team. So let's make a team. So, starting off, we are going to give Molar Office Fixer a go because if I understand, yep, it is additional offense level down on Tremor Burst from Faust, which is going to do that on an AoE. So that is a big burst of defense level down on the enemy, which is very nice. Second, that we're gonna skip straight to it, is Molar Bolt Work Fixers, because it gives us additional tremor with effective attack skill. I'm trying to remember which ID gave more self tremor, which is very important for us. I think is this one, yeah. All ID has the most tremor count, gain 1 more tremor count from skill effects. We're just gonna get these 2 immediately because I know what they do, and so we're gonna go with it. For Dawn, in terms of tremor or bleed, we could, let's see. We don't have sinking or rupture, so we can't make use of her. We could use Dawn Manager for Berserker antics, but they're not that great, honestly. We could also take the Middle Little Sister for some blunt damage up. Yeah, let's take that. Extra blunt damage is nice. She does not have much in the way of bleed support here, which is our main thing. Yeah, let's go with that one. Ryoshu is going to support us with not sure, you don't look like, let's see, bleed we have Kurokumo Clan. Tremor is only self tremor. This one is on a give one tremor count from the skill points effects. Yeah, let's take this one. Let's make Faust the actual mainline fighter. Isaac FM2L1, welcome to the stream. Your name and avatar are not familiar to me, so I assume you're new here, so I welcome you. Hello. Right, moving on to Honglu. Honglu has the ability to give us additional tremor bursts, but we already know what Honglu is going to give to us. That's right, more damage. It's unfortunately the usual suspects in here. For her, I'm always stumped when it comes to Ishmael, because Ishmael doesn't have very good support all around. At least not for the team I'm using right now. We could take Kurokumo Clan Captain for the additional bleed, which is on a resonance only. Do we have a lust resonance on this team? We have lust here, we have lust here, and that's it. We have true lust, so no resonance here. We could take base Ryoshu for base Ishmael for flash power, but that's not very good. It's not the greatest thing ever. House of the Spider's Middle Apprentice maybe for the clash power for the number one deployed identity. How is our envy resonance? We have here, and that's it. We have true envy as well. First time seeing your content. Welcome then. Welcome and hello. Shoot. What do we take for Ishmael, actually? This one gives us additional blunt, right? Yeah, allow the least speed use 10% blunt damage. I guess we're gonna go with that, because I don't remember anything that can be good for Ishmael to help this hodgepodge of a team. Honestly, I hate bringing mixed teams like this, but what can you do? Rhodia is going to stay the same Rhodia, because same Rhodia is the good Rhodia. Unless we want to do Roast Pen or Workshop and really give Faust a bonus, but I'm rather have the damage bonus. This thing is not exactly beaming with power. Maybe Zwei-ish is a strange little support. At combat start, compare each identity current HP to their HP at the start of the previous turn. Then apply true defense level up to the identity that has the greatest disparity of HP values between turn. Now, defense level up is nice and all, but assuming our team is going to stay alive, it's just a little damage reduction, honestly. It's not the greatest thing ever. I'd rather take the 10% more damage for blunt than a little bit of damage reduction. Finally, we have Sinclair. Sinclair is going to support us how? The middle little brother gives us one line with the least current against true defense level up. No. Same thing as Ishmael right here. Zwei association with section 3 is probably going to do the same. No, it gives us 1 haste and 3 defense level to 1 ally with the lowest HP percentage next turn. We might have to go Mariachi again. Tremor or bleed. He has middle brother that does bleed but not support bleed. Tremor is also either Molar Bolt works, and Molar, that's it, pretty much Molar Bolt works, which applies additional tremor. This is for bullet. This is what is this one again? It is inflicting additional burn or rupture, right? Yeah. This one is poise shield. If you have poise, you gain shield. This one's rupture. This one is allow the least speed deals 10% more blunt damage. If the ally is at 0, deals more damage. Rupture, 1 extra tremor, dodging, burn, defense level, more damage on the final hit, final attack, and a little bit of damage reduction. Let's go with 10% more damage. That is it for our team. Let us deploy then, and let us go over some rules. Like yesterday, which was I decided to vent a little bit yesterday. I apologize for that if you're present, but I was thinking about what we're gonna do in the future of the channel, thinking out loud, throwing some ideas here in the channel, see what I'm gonna do. And I decided that we're gonna continue our daily streams for Limbus Company, even though it's getting a little stale, up until we reach the 90th episode, 19 daily streams. We are going to set some ground rules here, so moving forward, and maybe even beyond that, which is going to be like this. Every day, I'm going to do my daily stream here. We are only going to do 5 floors. Why 5 floors, even though I can go further than that? Simple. We have our book reading after this. I have a limited time, and we are going to spice it up with a little bit of a challenge on top. So we're only going to do 5 floors on the hard mirror dungeon, because there's no other difficulty. The difference here is that we are never going to take Grace of the Stars again. No matter the team, no matter if it's a solo, no more Grace of the Stars. It is Ogre. No more Grace of the Stars. Graceless. We are completely graceless right now. We have no grace, we have no style. Second, we are not going to buy gifts at the beginning. Unless I am running a solo team. That is the only exception. If I'm running a solo run, I will buy a gift or 2 from the shop here, but otherwise, if there is more than 2 characters, sorry, we are going giftless as well. If my team gets wiped, if I'm on a solo run and my character gets wiped, they get 2 retries for that fight. If they fail, I consider the dungeon failed. We have to set up some rules here. Sure, those rules are a bit nonsensical. I can just continue with another sinner and I don't lose the game, but it makes for quicker dungeon runs, a little bit of a challenge, a little bit increase the stakes and all that. Now, if I'm running a duel or anything with more than one sinner, if they get wiped, that's it. They're dead. That's the end of the dungeon. We take our L. We go back to floor 1. We go back to the window screen and we do our book reading and maybe some video watching or something else if you're too early in the run. But that's the rules I want to roll by now. So 5 floors, no grace, no ego gifts at the start, except the one you get as a freebie because it's literally given to you. Although I could choose not to take that one as well. And if it's a solo, they get 3 retries if they fail a fight. If it is a duo or above, they just die. They're just dead. All right, we are gonna go for Figment Erosion because there is a unique gift here that I want. So today's focus is this thing here that someone recommended to me, which is the coin drop the coin drop plus coin drop. These are the only units in game, not counting ego, there's only one ego, that can apply these debuff, and it is a very, very powerful debuff. They have a little bit of one of them at least have a little bit of a requirement to use, but they're mostly on skill 2 and skill 3. And we start off with Inquisitors. And we're already doing excellent, look at that. All right, how is everyone doing on this Wednesday? If there's no punishment, there is no fun. Exactly, you understand. A little punishment is the little treat you need to sometimes spice things up, you know? Ooh, 2 paralysis on Gregor already. True coin power down on that guy, look at that. But he's using a negative skill, so he didn't change nothing. I want to see a boss with like at least 4 coin power down and see him cry. Alright, paralysis all around, as expected. Faust has enough for a big AoE. Let's use it. We want to replace Flying Hammer Heathcliff skill 1 with skill 2 so he can dish out a lot of point power down this turnaround. Assuming he survives. Visitors are always annoying. But here we go. Faust is getting her passive up, her power up. And stagger. Gregor, what do you have on your... You have AD. Do you have any paralysis on you? No, you don't. But you can use the skill if you want. But it feels kind of a waste right now. But you know what? We have the resources to do it. If you can use the skill, you generate the resources for it. So... Alright, since today is a nice Wednesday and we are on the clock, let's not forget that today's maintenance day. So in about 2.5 hours from now, the game will go into maintenance. We have to beat the dungeon before that, so let's keep that in mind. Don't kill Heathcliff, please, I need him alive. Oh yeah. You know, it's Wednesday. Wednesday is when I whip out my stogie. Alright, that's not purify. I don't care about it. You are paralyzed to hell and back, aren't you, brothers? Get some counter on ya. Get some counter juice on ya. Unfortunately, this is not the good stogie, so this one is gonna go quickly. Three coin power now. One of the reasons why I said all this that I want to do those rules, like no ego, no whatever, is after doing the railway stream, which was a hell of a lot of fun. I loved playing that railway. I would love to play another railway with new stuff because it felt good, it felt nice, it felt like breaking a puzzle, at least for the new fight, is that once we finished the railway, I went back to the mirror dungeon and like, man, this is boring. Like, these fights have nothing on them. Like, I get the gifts, my characters get strong, we finish the dungeon, and then there's nothing else. Hey, hello, it's the greatest abnormality of all time. There she is. Anyway, there is nothing. There's like, you beat the dungeon, you get your shards. I understand that is the mode meant for farming, and doing this every day is kind of grinding me down. But it just goes to that, wow, there is nothing. I'm doing nothing here. Like, I know the result already. Unless I run a specific solo team, it's not going to do much. And so I wanted to do some challenges, or at least impose some difficulties on me for no reason other to make it harder, more interesting, because yeah, I guess the grind of the daily mirror dungeons is starting to get to me. After all, we are on our 75th episode, 75th, yeah, of the daily mirror dungeon, so love this eagle. And aside from the book reading at the end, I feel like it's starting to get a little stale. Remember that. Even that's why I opened the Google Forms. I brought up the idea of people submitting their own teams to have you do for MD. That is it. For MD Extreme, no, not yet. But you can. I did take your advice, Civic Trauma. On the description of the stream, there is a link to a Google form where you can recommend me a team to use in a mirror dungeon, and this is one of them. This thing right here, the plus coin drop thing, that is one of them. Someone suggested, hey, use every ID that has a plus coin drop, and there it is. Generally speaking, the problem with MD is that just have one enemy type. Now they don't even change the main mechanic to Eagle Field. Yeah, the previous MDs, they can't. They had like, we're gonna change things around, but they pretty much settled on the idea that, okay, mirror dungeon, it's the grind. You go there to get your shards. But the problem is that they decided that, and I forgot to heal, this is gonna be bad. They decided that, but they didn't give us another option like the challenge mode. The railways are great when they come out, and I love them. But once you beat them, there's little incentive to go back other than try to do better, which is fine by itself. I will admit that much, it's fine by itself. But yeah, I even talked about the mirror dungeon. It could be fun. It could be a lot more fun if the mirror dungeon was something like an actual dungeon, you know? Each path had like a unique map that you could explore instead of the same linear thing every floor with maybe some unique events here and there. What I think they should do is look back at the dungeons they did for Canto 3, Canto 8, and I think that's the last dungeon we got, like dungeons with multiple choice, branching paths, and you know, all that good stuff. So what I think they should do is literally go back, take a look at those things that made things fun, and just do that again. But for each, you know, we have all these. We have this modular system that you select the mirror dungeon path you want, right? Imagine if each of them was a unique dungeon, or say a randomized dungeon with branching paths that you have to find the exit for. Maybe for a different game mode, because again, mirror dungeon is supposed to be the farm, so every time you open a new pack, it's a new dungeon with different challenges, different places you can go. Sometimes you lead to treasure with additional cost or whatever else have you. I think that would make the dungeons a lot more interesting, but it would not help the idea that the mirror dungeons are supposed to be the place that you come to farm, you know? How much you have? 15? Alright, here we go. Hello, my Zeds. How are you doing? That's why they're making this other new game mode that the director talked about, but they haven't revealed much to us, which is supposed to be the place where you farm, not farm, you got your mirror dungeon? Alright, come here and play the fun game mode. in my opinion, the main thing that makes the Mirror Dungeon boring and repetitive is the fact that every pattern, every map is the very same. There's no variation. Sure, one path changes here and there are some, what do you call, some unique events in some floors, some packs, but that's it. That's all there is to it. There's nothing else. Nothing at all. Just the same map every time. Now, if you had variations for that map, paths that close and open, yeah, the director said, yeah, you can stop and play for, give it a break, go play something else, but I love Limbus, and so I'm gonna keep playing it every day. After all, I am mostly a free-to-player game. I do buy the Battle Pass when I can. I save up the money for that, but anything that I can, I will save up for sharding. And much like you said, Isaac, the director wants his game to succeed. Yes, everyone wants that, but it's like, I'm gonna do whatever I want. So sometimes it's gonna be slow, sometimes it's gonna be fast, sometimes there's not gonna be anything, sometimes it's going to be what it is. And what it is right now is that we are a bit on a content drought, but hopefully that will come soon, be fixed. Let's see here. Coin. Oh, this isn't new, or I never paid attention for it. Ah. To be cleaved. We don't have slash damage, but we do have a lot of single coins. Well, the Purify for Heathcliff is a single coin. That means we're going to be applying that multiple times. You know what? Let's go there. Yeah, hold on. Going back. This here's what I'm talking about. Every floor of the dungeon is the same thing. Is this linear path? Sure, some path change, but I want, you know, a dungeon. I want to go here, but if I take this path, I can't take the other one, or I could go back a path, and there's a door, you have to find the key, and, you know, play a dungeon. Play a dungeon. Proper dungeon. I'm doing an MD with the middle IDs I have available. Very nice. Enjoy purple. Enjoy being purple for the day. Oh, it's a coin power down fight. I see. All right, submitted a request. I will check it out after the stream. And if your team is chosen, well, you know, because you have the one to submit it, and I will put it up on the next stream. We'll see. Right, next up, Shadow Cloud, which applies power down. This one, she isn't ready for that one yet. Yeah. But anyway, like I said, we're in a little bit of a drought. Everyone wanted something new. We got the railway, and now everyone's crying about the railway. I love the railway. It was a fun time. It took 6 hours for me because I was taking it slow. But man, oh man, that was a fun time. And I will do it again at some point, maybe, try and get better time. Now that I understand the mechanics a little better. But coming up next is going to be that Intervallo, which I'm very, very so much looking forward to it. Literally just a team I'm running right now for my Ryoshu solo. Lol. Do you want me to run a Ryoshu solo with that team, or do you want me to use the full team? Because I'll do a solo, but you have to understand, like I said before, the rules are, unless I'm doing something on the weekend, like an extreme, I'm going to do 5 floors only, no support from anything else, like graces or starting gifts. Oh, this guy. Point the direction should give me your lighter. Give me your lighter. So in this fight is very amusing. You take no damage but roll 0 for the first 2 turns. Yep. The enemies, I've said this a lot of times here on the stream, but the early enemies from the early cantos, they were being designed with the mindset of Library of Ruin in mind. They were very debuff reliant rather than big number, big skill, big damage, you know? and so they were a lot scarier in my heart. They are a lot scarier than, let's say, Nurse Father. Nurse Father is powerful. Not gonna say he ain't, but he's powerful as in he has big number. He doesn't have like, if this attack hits, everyone gets paralyzed for the next turn. You know, imagine something like Furioso, right? But it does little to no damage, but it applies power down with every hit, and the paralysis on top. Could you imagine how scary would that be? He pops a Furioso, hits everyone in the team, applying one power down with every hit and a paralysis. Comes next turn, everyone has been reduced to a slob. They can't move, they can't do anything because they are completely out of power. And he just reaps everything from the ground. He just starts collecting heads, because who's gonna win a clash now? You try to pop an eagle, power down. You try to pop an eagle with negative point, power down, still working. Of course, that would be pure bullshit. Still, I consider a debuff heavy boss with a gimmick way more interesting than a boss that is pure numbers. Oh, you know what time it is? You know what time it is? You know what time it is? I will tell you what time it is. It is time to bother the creature. Ah, there you are. You were sleeping so happy, weren't you? But you made the mistake of sleeping near me. Now I'm gonna fluff your hair. Kitty. That would be very cool, and Insult would be very good against such an enemy. Indeed. Anyway, let's see. Chart Disc is very good, but we don't have Burn in our team. Respite is Bleed, so we're gonna take it. Give me a refresh. Faust replace for skill 2 for more coin power down shenanigans. And save our money. Like, for example, to exemplify again, and I do speak about this a lot on the stream, Inquisitors. Canto 3 Inquisitors. The Canto 3 Inquisitors are insanely strong. Not because they have big number or whatever, but because they apply a lot of debuffs, like Bind, Paralysis, and everything else your heart desires. And when you're doing a solo and you have the misfortune of encountering them, not only are you going to have infinite bleed, you are also going to have infinite debuffs. I have to fight the fucking whale solo. Turn that, like, here's a tip. Turn that paralysis into your advantage. Use an overclocked eagle. Overclocked eagle that has a negative coin, mind you. Anyway, this whole thing about the mirror dungeon that we were talking about is the reason why I am planning on doing different content in the future. Once we finish our 90th stream, that is about 20 streams away approximately, or we finish Crime and Punishment before that, which is also an option, I am going to sit down and I'm going to probably play Lobotomy Corporation or Library of Ruin again. I already played both of these games before, so they are not really a surprise for me, but it will be a nice pilgrimage, you know? And I'm going to reserve the mirror dungeon runs to every Thursday, not Wednesday, because Wednesday is Maintenance Day. Run a extreme dungeon every Thursday, because we still get our Limbus company fix. We get our, you know, our good stuff, our rewards for the weeklies and all that. And that's it. That's what I'm gonna do. I only have one ego I can overclock. The last bosses are kind of bleeding bird. Yeah, that final boss was fucking fun as hell. That was one of the most fun bosses I had. Like the whole thing about switching timelines, so you can't leave it too much on one timeline, otherwise it starts getting buffed to hell and back. That one was fun. That one was real fun. I loved it. I loved the way he looked. He moved like a vividly accurate angel. That was just just fun. That was just a fun boss fight. Even Yinglong, the dragon, and the Heistros inside of him. Once I realized that, what's it called? Once I realized that you can nuke the entire battlefield and then become nearly impervious to damage on the next turn, which is something I still want to try on my solo play. Is literally try to do that because I realized that when I was failing to sleep at night. I think you're fucked. I think you're fucked. Now, let us observe, and I'm gonna make sure he clashes with this. Let us observe his coin power. Where has it gone? I wonder where it is. Where did it go? Where did your coin power go? This is so funny. This is such a busted debuff, man. You just pull a late hang? Kinda. Lei Hang is my favorite of mine. Speaking of, where is he? Where did he go? Ah, there he is. His spirit is together with us in these trying times. Let's get that rusty coin that I wanted and that moneymaker. And let's get some painkillers as well. Sure. Alright, Repressed Wrath, the Unconfronting, or Burning Haze. You know what? Should go Unconfronting, but it does more. We could get this and make the... I mean, we kind of got the gift, but we could fuse, but we're not using N-Corp team today, so give me a refresh. Falling Flowers has Dombe, No One Will Cry, or the Fox. But this Spice Bush is very good for power-ups. You're gonna go for Carmilla. Carmilla is a very good gift all around, even though Spice Bush also is a very good gift. And let's go over here because we can control the flow of battle here. In any case, so once again, just to make it clear, make it perfectly clear, on the 9th daily stream, I'm gonna stop the daily streams in Mirror Dungeons, and I'm gonna switch over to probably Lobotomy Corporation or Library of Ruina. We're still gonna have Limbus Company Extreme Dungeons on every Thursday after the 9th, and on the weekend it's still gonna be something special. But yeah, daily streams for Limbus Company will come to a stop eventually. Or, you know, if we finish the book too early. Because, you know, there's a lot of books to read. I'm scared of reading the Honglu book because a lot of book to go through. In other news, now where is it? This weekend there is going to be the Project Moon tabletop role-playing game, and I am going to be the GM again, which is something I am very, very, very so much looking forward to. And I'm gonna give you guys a preview of what I'm planning. Just a moment. How's your tremor? Tremor is good. So, if you have not been keeping up with the tabletop, I've been running a tabletop campaign on the city, the Project Moon city, the setting, using a system that includes Clash system, Bleed, Burn, Rupture, all that good shit that we know from Project Moon, you know? And it's a real good time. It's a real good time. Let me show you real quick what I'm talking about here. Let me open the Roll20 for it. Last few sessions, my good friend Vin has been GMing for me and my group friend that played this. And don't worry, the stream is not dying. It's the encoder overloading. Let it stop overloading for a second there. Here we go. So, he's been DMing, it's been a lot of fun, but now it's my turn again. It's loading. Second. We've been doing this tabletop for over a year, and we've been playing as low-grade fixers. The plot is remarkably simple. If you are familiar with the concept of a warlock in Dungeons & Dragons, then it should be familiar to you what I'm about to say. Our characters, they're all started as grade 9 fixers. They were very, innocent, very new. Most of my players aren't too familiar with the world of Project Moon, so everything was pretty much new to them, so it was going all right. And they're starting as fixers. They started with a contract on an office called the Morning Sun Office. The Morning Sun Office runs a gig, runs a scam, basically, which is something like this. All right, you are a new fixer. You need contacts, you need work, right? You want those works, but you don't want to start something low, right? Like finding someone lost wallet, or fixing the plaster on my wall, or finding a lost cat. Carmen the Distorter PM, we have 2 Carmens on chat now. Hello, Carmen, how are you doing? Crime and Punishment, that is right. At the end of the stream, when we finish the 5 Floors of the Mirror Dungeon, we are going to resume our reading of Crime and Punishment, which is an excellent book. In any case, continue on. Morning Sun Office. You are a new fixer, you need a gig, you need contacts, you need to get your name out there because you are new and you want to, succeed. The Morning Sun Office offers to you, my friend, an excellent deal. We are gonna hook you up with a client, you and a group of grade 9 fixers, that is. We're gonna hook you up with a client. You will be able to directly talk to that client. You will be able to directly negotiate with that client as if you were a higher grade fixer. Of course, all of this is going to be overseen by one of our grade 5 fixers who are just helping you along, teaching you how to do all this stuff, because you're new and all that. The client is aware that all of you are new grade 9 fixers, and you're not very experienced. And the reason why he knows this and is willing to do this is because he gets a bargain. So you get a bunch of fixers, plus a grade 5, to do whatever work is being requested, for very cheap. In return, you don't get much money. I'll be entirely honest with you in this offer here. You're not here to make money. You're here to put your name out there, to show that you're capable of being a fixer, So that's the deal. That's what we're operating here. You get to talk to the client, you get to put your name out there, you get to do a job that isn't like something baseline, but we are going to take like 90% of the profits of this. You're going to get a pittance out of this. To be entirely honest, you're not getting any money out of this. That's the deal. Crazy, right? So, my players were all grade 9 fixers. They took that deal. They started working for Morning Sun Office. And Morning Sun Office, of course, live up to their name. They are, hook you up with a client. They tell you what to do. They talk. And the first job was something very simple. We have to get rid of rats. There is a rat infestation in a warehouse. Problem is, we don't know how they're getting in. We searched the entire perimeter, we checked everything. We don't know how they're getting in. And because where the whole campaign takes place, it's close to N-Corp, we don't have recording stuff, we don't have cameras. Because we're close to N-Corp and no one wants to rid their wrath. So no one has cameras, and so no one knows what's going on. And so we've been watching, we keep someone on guard at night, the rats just appear out of thin air and start looting things, and they disappear again. We don't know what's going on. So you, my grade 9 fixers, together with that one grade 5, which is going to not do much during the entire thing, will investigate and find out how these rats are getting inside our warehouse and looting everything. That's your first job. Much better than, say, looking for someone's cat, right? Or something as base as this. That is the beginning of the campaign a year ago. A year ago, we did all of that. Right now, we are much more advanced. We're no longer dealing with rats, although that is still a part of it. And for most of it, I have been the GM. My friends are now GMing themselves for our characters. That gives me a chance to play. It's a lot of fun. And the combat system is, again, pretty much the Library of Ruin. Let me show you. Done. How do I... And... Hold on. Here we go. Now, we play on Roll20. I just remade this. This is the area that we're in, the places that we have explored. This is our office where it is. We named the office Hermes office way before we realized that Hermes was the god of the city, so we might get a visit from the index at some point. So this is the map where we go. This is like our calendar, rules, our grades and stuff. And here is a character. Let me show you. Let's go with one of my characters, which is Tony. GM characters, Tony the Glutton. So you got all the system from Library of Ruina kind of here. You got your stats, you got your ailments, power up, bleed, paralysis, everything. You have the clash system, you have block, you have evade, you have skills that use light. It is a grandiose fun time. You have your augment, but this system has the problem. The problem is that not only everything depends on the clash system, as we have already seen before. I already discussed here in the stream that the clash system is very, very good, but there is a few flaws with it, but it's much better than the alternative. Everything is on the clash system, and we do not have skills. We only have stats. This is a very combat-heavy system. You click the damage, you click to attack here, it rolls the attack. I'm targeting something. Oops. Oops, hold on. I gotta... Fucking dog. God damn it. Just a second here. Like I said, there we go. The jank is already apparent here. As you can see, no chart for target. So you roll your attack. It shows you the effects, how much you rolled, and then the enemy rolls his, and we'll compare and see who won the clash. Get to apply damage. You have the clash win, you have the clash lose. It is a grand old time. I love playing the system, and since it has no skill systems, we kind of added our own skill system to the game to make things a little more interesting. Right now, like I said, I'm returning as a GM. We are going to be, you know, doing stuff. I remade the entire map for Office recently, which is this massive thing. Look at it, which we're going to be operating out, and it's just a fun time. And like I said, we are going to be returning to the tabletop this weekend with me as the GM, and it's going to be a lot of fun. I hope to see you guys there. And it's something I want to do more often, And I forgot where I was going with this. I just wanted to show off because it's fun. It's very fun. We're fighting the Pecatulas. Now I have managed to adapt a lot of enemies from Limbus Company into the system itself. Almost perfectly, to be honest. And it's a lot of fun. It's just a lot of fun. Tabletop games are a lot of fun. If you can play it with someone, play it. It's a grand old time. And I forgot where I was going with this. Oh yeah. We are going to have a tabletop stream this weekend. So look forward to it. I'm gonna have fun. I'm gonna be the GM again, and I'm very excited for it. Character sheet is a bit cluttered, reminds me a bit of Call of Cthulhu. It is a bit cluttered. It's just that it has this big scary thing on the middle, which is your ailments, and I put it on the screen again. And capture, there we go. It has this big thing here. Most of this information you don't really need. Can I zoom in, please? There we go. Just before we continue, I want to see Mercel punch these guys. I love that ability. Ooh. Didn't kill all of them. What a shame. Anyway, the system looks a little cluttered because you don't need a lot of this information. Here you have health, stagger, sanity, light. Light is your resource for using skills. Health is how you stay alive. Stagger, everybody know what stagger is if you know Project Moo. And sanity is funny. You have your stats. You have this thing here, which is all of these things are here just to make it easier to roll. You know, this here is where you keep your status ailments. So like power up, bleed, paralysis, burn. We have frostbite, we have rupture, we have poise, tremor, all that good shit. You know, this just keeps track of your character status. You know, what ailments affect you, if you're panicking, if you're staggered, if you're dead. This here is for updating your character. This is not something we're going to talk about. Speed, luck. Speed we roll once. This here is for applying damage manually instead of like just clicking apply damage on the side here, and I fucked up something here. Shit, I fucked up. I'll fix this later. Anyway, here you have your weapons, here you have your armor, here you have your tools, if you have tools, and here you have your augmentation. This is basically everything your character... Oops! I just realized that I wasn't showing anything. Oops! My bad. Anyway, it's scarier than it looks. It's just a lot of jank. So like I said, health, stagger, sanity, light, which is your resource for using skills. You got your stats like fortitude, prudence, justice, charm, insight, and temperance, all flavored for Project Moon. So strength, endurance, intelligence, wisdom, speed, your ability to see, sense things. Charm is your charisma. Temperance is something else entirely. Here you have your weapons. Here you have your armor. Here you have your tools, if you have any. And here you have your augmentation, which is basically your character perks, you know? As long as the rules are organized and the index is good, it's not a big problem. Here's the thing. You don't have character classes in the system. You build your special snowflake however you want. You have like a point system, where I don't know if you can see it very well here, but it's based on your character rank, which is kind of like level, but not really. It goes from 0 to 5, and this character is rank 3, so he's middle of the road. You buy effects from a big list of effects, and you just piece together your guy, you know? And that together with weaknesses as well. Your guy can have weaknesses and strengths. But this system, everything in here is all focused on combat. Combat only. Tabletop role-playing games are not pure combat. That's why we kind of Frankensteined into the system, I forced my players to do that, Mage the Ascension skill sheet. So your character can have things that he's good at, like this one is good at punching things, he's good with a sword, he's good at surviving, he's good at intimidation, he's good at being streetwise, etc. And with this we do rolls in the tabletop to, you know, get things flowing, get things rolling, get things functioning. Like say, your character wants to fix a computer, you roll your ability with computers, like technology, which has no technology points, together with his intelligence, with his chew, so you know how it is. He's not very good at that. He's probably not going to be able to fix his computer, but there is a chance. When I say I'm using Mage the Ascension here, I mean we are rolling d10s for every point on the skills and the stats to see if we succeed in action or not. And it's a lot of fun. And like I said, I'm going to go back to being the GM. It's going to be a lot of fun. And I hope to see you all this Saturday or Sunday. Again, when I do a tabletop stream, I don't really respond in voice to anything you guys type here in the chat, but I do reply on the chat itself. I have it open on the other screen, and I do check that out from time to time. In any case, enough about tabletop. Let's get back to Limbus, shall we? Although this, for me, is much more interesting than Limbus, because tabletop is a lot more interesting than any video game you can play. And I will tell you that right now, because in a video game, you are limited by the things that have already been pre-programmed for you. You can't really escape that. You can break the game, sure, but you can't do something like super special unless it's something like an immersive sim or a game that already has support for that type of action. In a tabletop, however, you can just keep going. You can just keep adding more things and doing more things, and it's a hell of a lot of fun. One of my friends, which kind of stopped playing, and he's gonna come back to playing, by the way, he said, like, never in a video game have I been caught lying with my character. Like, he'll roll the lie, try to lie, and he failed the test and the guy figured out he was lying. But never in a video game he was able to keep going with the lie, keep like double down, like no, you got it all wrong. I actually blah 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 blah. And in a tabletop game, you can do that. The GM might call for a more difficult test to see if the guy buys your bullshit, unless they immediately become hostile towards you, which you... I think you are more mechanically oriented rather than roleplay. No, I am more both. I like both. I like form and function. I like form and function. That's why Mage the Ascension rules are very good. Because depending on how you decide to do an action, it can be easier or harder depending on the GM. All comes down to the game master, the storytelling, right? So let's say your character wants to do a cool wall run, right? Because he has to reach a guy that's running away. The guy will raise the bridge or something, and there is a convenient wall that you can run. You could, if you're particularly athletic, you can run across. You, as a player, can say, hey, GM, can I try that? The GM, being me or anyone else, will say, all right, you can do that. Give me, let's say, a Justice Athletics test. But I want to do this with another skill or something else. All right, give me, how are you going to do that with those skills? And then the GM will decide if that becomes harder or easier. So it's a lot of improvisation on the tabletop, which allows you to do things that a video game wouldn't let you, which is very fun. It is very nice, and I like it a lot. And I want to play more, but unfortunately me and my friends can only play on the weekends, once per week. Which is a shame. Because I want more. I want a lot more. It's so much fun. Anyway, if you ever get yourselves a nice group of friends, do give roleplay a try. It's incredibly fun. Alright, let's tell some gift and do a refresh for charge if I can get the good stuff. There we go, that's the good stuff. Yeah, Mage the Ascension is good mechanics. They are simple enough that anyone can play and not overly complicated. Like I said, let me try to explain it to everyone that is watching. In Mage the Ascension, and mind you, I never played a game of Mage, but I know the system from watching other videos, and that's why I decided to adopt it. In Mage the Ascension, your character has stats and skills, each represented by a dot. You can go up to 5 dots in skill, which represents how good you are at that particular thing. If you have 0 dots in strength, you are a weakling. You are thin and malnourished, little frail Victorian era child. But if you have 5 points in strength, you are a bodybuilding god with abs chiseled onto your body. You are Mr. Muscle himself. You could probably deadlift a car with no problem. But here's the problem, ironically. You probably can do that. It is not a guarantee that you will do that. Nothing is a guarantee. Everything is down to the dice. If you have 5 points in strength, you're very more likely to be able to do something as crazy as deadlifting a car. But again, it is a chance. Now, every character has stats and skills. Stats is your physical attributes. Mind, how fast you are, how good you're at talking, strong, etc, etc. Skills are more specialized. These are things you learn during your life and you know how to do. Like, I know how to craft things. I'm very good at building things. I'm very good at computers. I'm very good at lying. I'm very good at something else. That's your skills. In Mage the Ascension, when you want to do a particular action that is considered challenging or not, we are going to be taking a stat from your character and the relevant skill. And we're going to see how many dots you have in both of those combined. So let's say I want to deadlift that car as an example. Let's say my character has 5 in strength because he is Arnold Schwarzenegger, and he has 4 points in athletics. He's one like a pro sport guy. He plays on the big leagues of football or whatever. He has 4 points in athletics. I take both of these, combine how many dots I have, and I have 9 dots. That's pretty damn nice. So every dot will turn into a D10, a 10-sided dice. And I'm going to roll as many dots as dice as dots that I have. So in this case, for me, with this character to deadlift a car, I have 9 D10s to throw. Now, the GM is going to decide how difficult it is for me to obtain a success in this. So what is going to say, all right, to deadlift this car, I'm going to give you a difficulty of 8. Meaning that with your D10s, you have to roll 8 or more to obtain a success. So I'm gonna take my 9 D10s, gonna throw them, and see how many of them got 8 or more. If I got an 8 or more, that's 1 success. If I got more than 1 success, that's additional successes on top of my success. If I rolled a 10, that is 2 successes, if I am training that skill, which is something I don't use on the system that we're using, but if you get a 10, that's a double success. If you get a 1, that is a failure. It eats one of your successes. So I took my 9 dice from 5 strength, 4 athletics, I threw them, and I got 2 successes. My character succeeds in deadlifting the car, and he does it quite well as well. He lifted it good. He lifted it very nice. He's posing even. But at the discretion of the GM, certain actions can necessitate more than a single success. Usually, you only need 1 success to succeed in an action. As long as you beat the target number with the difficulty, you succeed. But sometimes this sometimes an action that is too difficult will require more than 1 success, which can make it impossible for a character that does not have a good dice pool. Dice pool is the amount of dice you throw. So I actually have there's a video of someone that we could watch, but not right now. I wanted Carmilla, but I'm not giving them final power. Hell no. Anyway, there's a very good video that explains that I could show, but I'm not gonna do it right now. All right, let's see here. Time 17. I guess the fish really wants to be fought, huh? So yeah, it's a very consistent, and it always leaves things up to chance. It's not a guarantee. Just because my character has 5 in strength and 4 in athletics does not guarantee that I will succeed. Ah, shit, I don't want the device. We're very, very poor right now in terms. I got locked into a boss fight, damn it. Just because my character has 5 strength and 4 athletics does not mean he will succeed at deadlifting that car. It means he's most likely to succeed, because if I throw 9 dices, 9 d10s, and I do not get a single success, that is very, very, very impressive, honestly. It's kind of impressive that you managed to do that, but yeah, you don't succeed, even if you are trained, even if you are a Greek god hopping on the strongest steroids in the world. You failed because you didn't roll enough. And then the storyteller, that's his job, to tell you how you failed or how you succeeded or how much you failed or how much you succeeded. Normally, not getting a single success means you don't complete the task. That's fine. But if you do not get a single success in your roll and you roll a 1, that is a botch. That is as a critical fail, which you can imagine is not very fun to happen. It's not a very fun thing to happen. So let's say again, I rolled my dice to deadlift the car because I'm a very strong lad. Not only I did not get a single success, but I also got a 1. That means I botched. I tried to deadlift the car and I pulled a muscle, or I did succeed in deadlifting the car a little bit, and then it fell onto my feet and caused some damage. So there's the dice rolling system. Of course, players will usually try to stick with whatever their character is good at. They are going to try and do things with the knowledge they have, with the things they're good at, and it's very fun. Previously, before we kind of grafted the system into the combat system that we use for Project Moon, everything was decided by rolling 2d6s plus your stats to dictate if you won or if you did not won certain tests. So it created a problem that every character that had high intelligence, for example, unless the player wants to roleplay something that, oh, he's very good with computers, but he doesn't know anything about, say, bureaucracy. Because if the player didn't roleplay that, it would cause that every time that this character would use intelligence means he would be good at intelligence at everything. He would be smart in every single turn. Every time he acquired intelligence, he would be intelligent. And it kind of made everything kind of looks like a soup of the same thing. Like the smart character does the smart thing because he's a smart character. Not because he's good with computers, not because he is a guy that went to college and specialized in the field. No, he's the smart guy, so the smart guy does the smart thing. The strong guy does the strong thing, the fast guy does the fast thing. It doesn't matter if the fast guy was a couch potato and he's just agile by nature, and the smart guy is someone that ran track in high school and he's very good at running because he kept that as a hobby. There's no specialization if you just use the stats. That's why I grafted the system into this other system to make characters more like characters. They have characterization. allow me to continue explaining one of my characters, the one I play, and the one I was role-playing on the last tabletop session. Ryonosuke Katsuro. He is a samurai guy. He uses a sword, so he is very good with a sword. He has 4 points in melee. It only goes to 5, as you may recall. Has 4 points in melee, but Ryonosuke not only is good with a sword, he also has he has a past in criminal activities. He was a bit of a party boy. He likes to go party, he likes to use drugs, he likes to drink, he likes to party, rock and roll. But he had a change of mind during his time doing these things. He realized he had a bit of a, how do you say, supernatural experience. And in this case, he one day overdosed on the drugs he used and was tossed into the back streets to get killed by the sweepers, by the owner of the club he was in. Because the owner of the club didn't want to mess with, like, this guy that is having an overdose here, so he just tossed him on the streets. When he was, you know, running away from the sweepers, overdosed on whatever drugs he was using, he encountered a escape abnormality, because all of this was happening at the tail end of Lobotomy Corporation. After he had the experience and the abnormality kind of allowed him to survive, because it did try to do a mental attack on him, and since he was in a different state of mind than normal, he didn't get the full brunt of the attack. He changed his ways. He became a good boy. He became a proper samurai. He reconciled with his father, resumed his training in swordsmanship, but from that came his new interest in life. He wants to know, what the hell is that thing? He wants to know more. He would like to know more. And so he began his studies not only in the way of the sword to become a better swordsman, he also began exploring the world of the supernatural, in this case abnormalities and everything that is on the outskirts. He wants to know. He wants to know what's going on. He has the unluckiest lucky, yeah. He was literally a bad boy. Went to parties and then he got overdosed, got tossed in the street, got a supernatural thing and changed his ways. Now he wants to be proper, but above all, he has an interest in the occult. That's, in terms of mechanics, why he has 3 points in occult, because after all that, he has been doing nothing but deliriously chasing after, you know, things in the city that go bump in the night. And by consequence, ended up poking his nose into things he shouldn't be poking his nose in. He went to the outskirts. He had a good time in the outskirts, but he's also a pragmatic guy. He knows being in the outskirts is a bad idea without any preparation, which was the entirety of last session, where the guy that gave us the job was trying to convince us to stay on the outskirts to help him when there was no contract. He is a fixer still, so he operates under a contract. He's not gonna let his curiosity take over. Aside from his interest in the occult and his swordsmanship skills, he is a very practical guy in terms of, I don't want to lose control of myself ever again. I took a lot of drugs, I did a lot of things I regret now because I've grown wiser and more, let's say, more proper. Let's say proper. He wisened up. He doesn't want that to happen again. So no one will control, he will not let himself be controlled by drugs or anything else ever again. He is now the master of his own fate. That's what he wants to do, and that's what he will do. So when the guy that we were doing the job for had us drugged to be smuggled out of the city into the outskirts, he wasn't happy about it. Because one, he knows what the outskirts are. He knows a lot about the occult. And he knows that being there without any proper way back is a bad idea. They don't even know how they got there in the first place. Secondly, he was drugged to get there. He doesn't want that to happen because he already lost control of himself when he was young through drugs and substances, and he doesn't want that to happen again. And so he was reasonably pissed off at the employer when the employer said, "Hey, let's stay here. Help me do this. I know our contract is over, but you need to help me. Come on." So yeah, he was a little pissed off at that. Welcome back, Moises. That's my character. So he's a samurai. He likes fighting. He likes using his sword. He reconciled with his father. His father continue his training on the sword. He received the gift of his heirloom sword, which is just a very powerful sword, and mechanically speaking. He likes to fight. He likes to collect trophies. He likes to sightsee. He wants to know more about the city. He wants to live. He wants to live more. And he wants to discover the mysterious things, like, what the hell was that thing that attacked me that night? What did it do to me? What is an abnormality? What is a distortion? He is actively seeking Carmen, so to speak. Alright, let's do a pursuance, because I see my guys are dying a little bit. Sorry, I got sidetracked here. I do that a lot. But what is this to see? We already fought Wayward Passengers several times, and just because I'm using a team that is applying power down is not going to change much.
탈출 개체 확인.
As a matter of fact, Ryonosuke, the character, he encountered a member of the Ring during a training montage. This was off-screen, so because we make it like this. When your character levels up in our table, he has to be absent for like a week or two training or doing whatever it is that is going to increase his power level. Ryonosuke, when he was leveling up, he encountered a member of the Ring. And of course they started fighting, but as the fight went on, they started appreciating the fighting style of one another, and they, kind of struck conversation and started talking and like started becoming friends, talking to each other. Ryonosuke observed that he does the marionette things that a lot of the Ring does. And he found that interesting because, I fought the creature that was like a puppet master before, and he controlled other things. Well, I don't want to be controlled, and that thing attempted to take control of me. But what if, in some ironic poetry, I develop a sword fighting style where I move like a puppet, like I do the whole puppet movement thing that you see in some animes and, the puppetry ninjas that use puppets. But what if I did that, but I am the one controlling myself? I am my own puppet master. I am controlling my own body as if I was a puppet. I am both the puppet and the puppet master. And so he tried to apply that through, this is just flavor. Flavor in tabletop is free. So instead of just fighting normally, I described that he's moving like a puppet. His movements are kind of uncanny, kind of creepy, because he's attempting, like, let's try that. I had a good time with this guy from the Ring. Let's try to apply this to my sword style. See what happens. So let's see what rocks from it. And it had partial success on that. Right, let's see. Anyway, back to the point I'm trying to make. Tabletops are fun. If you have a group of friends and you enjoy role-playing characters, give it a try. Find a system that you like, something simple to start with, unless you're a rules freak that really likes combat or something like that, and just have a good time. Tell a story. Have your characters go fight John Head on the headquarters and win. Alright, yep, session over.
약화되는 것 같습니다.
선물이라고 할 건 없고. 자, 이걸로 대신하지.
Anyway, back to Limbus here. We are still using the plus coin power team, coin power down team. They are okay. They are not the greatest thing ever. They're losing a lot of clashes here because a lot of them have 0-0 IDs, but they kind of do good against a boss with a single body part. Of course, Faust is blowing everyone else out of the water because she has AoEs, but still. I am so looking forward for the next session, man. I have to make a kit bash for a character to introduce the new setting, the new place they're going to. Because since I'm already talking about the tabletop, let me regale you the tale of what's been going on so far. So I explained the Morning Sun office. They offer that deal where you get to do a job even if you're a newbie. The character that was the grade 5 fixer that was helping them, like, the deal was like this. We get you a job with a customer, but our grade 5 fixer is mostly going to be observing. You, the grade 9 fixers, are going to deal with this job the way you see fit, And unless you are in danger or completely stumped, the grade 5 fixer will not get involved.
약화되는 것 같습니다.
The grade 5 fixer they got was a man named Harold. Harold was a very soft-spoken guy, very helpful, and a very sweet kind of guy. Harold did work for the Morning Sun, yes, but Harold's main shtick is that he worked for someone else. Now, you might recall that I mentioned something about warlocks before. If you're familiar with the concept of a Dungeons & Dragons warlock, you understand what I'm saying. Harold was working for someone else. Harold was merely in the Morning Sun office as a scout. He was scouting people. He worked for a man named King. If that's his name or just a moniker, no one knows. But King is a very rich and influential man. Not on the level of Diaz from Distortion the Tactic and Limbus Company, but somewhere up in that strata. He has a lot of money and he has a lot of contacts. King, for terms of gameplay, etc., is essentially a patron for a warlock. And he is scouting future warlocks, future employees. Harold acts as his eyes and saw, hey, I got this new batch of grade 9s, what do you think of them? And King said that they have potential. Why? Because King is a man that has a secret. His left eye socket is completely burned out, and he has a dull glow coming from the inside of his skull. Why? Because, well, when Lobotomy Corporation happened, its ending, true ending, King was in the process of, striking a deal with someone from Lobotomy Corporation inside one of their branch facilities. You know, the facilities with the golden bows. When the entire thing happened, the golden bow exploded because something fell on it. Details aren't clear, but a tiny itsy-bitsy fragment of the golden bow got lodged into his left eye socket and destroyed it. A man with so much power as King, he could easily get that eye fixed. They had a new eye, a better eye. But he chose not to, because that eye gives him a ability. He can see potential in people. Someone that has a dream, the seed of light or the whole thing about Lobotomy Corporation, he can see that. He can see people that have that. And these people, they usually have a reason to do the things they do. They're not just trying to live and survive every day. The things they do, everything they do, have a purpose behind it. And so he wants to invest in these people. He literally calls it an investment, a high-risk investment. I, with my resources, will help you achieve your dreams. Whatever you want, whatever it is. You want to become a color fixer? I can hook you up with a lot of offices, get you a lot of jobs, then work on your PR, everything else, get you out there. You want to do this? Fine, I can help you. However, you will help me in return achieve my own goals. Right. That means you're going to be working for me to do certain things. Sometimes I will not explain what you're doing or why you're doing it, but you're going to do it for me. In exchange, I help you. It's like I said, a high-risk investment, because just someone having the potential to do something does not mean that person will be able to do that something. That is the main point of King. He sees the potential in you. He sees that you have a little golden glow flowing off of you, and that you can do great things, but it's not a guarantee. And he wants to cultivate those things because he knows these people with these potentials, they have, again, the potential to go very far. And if they can go very far, they will be able to help him go very far as well. So King, through Harold, end up scouting the players after they do the first job, which was a classic fight the Rat King kind of deal, to joining his team. And by doing so, he formed Hermes' office. Hermes' office, main shtick is literally that we are working under the guise of we are helping these transport companies protect their cargo and property, but in reality, we are simply working for King. So how good do you think the team is doing so far? I would say they are okay. They can clear 5 floors easy. They are very good against a single target because they can all apply plus coin down on the same target. The problem is that they are not going very far in the dungeon. I wouldn't see them, unless you have like a shit ton of Eagle Gift, I wouldn't see them clearing Dungeons Extreme. Because they don't have the path members in the world or escalation to help them.
딱 죽을
Anyway,
만큼
continuing on. King, a true herald, scouts out the players to join Hermes' office, a newly established office that works for the Talaria Collective. The Talaria Collective is just a collective of transport companies around the district they work in that decided, hey, instead of paying for fixers or the ZY to protect our stuff, why don't we collectively fund one fixer office to work for us full-time? These guys will do anything that we ask them. They will protect our cargo, they will escort our goods, they will, if we get on one of our places get under attack, they will protect it, all that good shit. So they do that, but King is the major, again, the major holder of the Talaria Collective. Nothing gets approved without his say-so. And that's what the players are doing right now. They are working for this collective of transport companies and to keep King happy, because that everything they do, every mission they do, King gets something out of it. You have to infiltrate a corporation to get corporate secrets as a part of a job. King will know of this and they will invest in that company, like pump the stocks, so that when the company gets its secrets leaked out, he becomes the sole owner of the company. Everything that the players do, King gets something out of it. What exactly he wants to do is a mystery, but that is up to the players to figure it out, if they want to. After all, the goal here is not to like, oh, King is evil or he's trying to do something fucked up. No, King is genuinely trying to help people. He wants to conquer his own objectives, yes, but he's genuinely trying to help people. He is what you would call in Dungeons and Dragons a lawful good, or at least chaotic good, some depending on your point of view, because alignment charts are funny. He's a chaotic good force. He will do horrible things, he will lie, cheat. I guess we could call him neutral. Let's call him chaotic neutral, or lawful neutral, whatever. In any case, King is the patron of my characters, and every character is technically a warlock. They take power from King, they benefit from his power, his ability to do things. In return, King helps them with their personal backstories. How did he help with the personal backstories? Well, that is up to me, the GM, to do it, because ever since after the second chapter, the first one being Fight the Rat King, which is a classic in any video game, any tabletop, the second chapter and so forward has been very personal for every character, because I take their backstories and I work it similarly to Limbus company. Everything their characters have in their backstory will come to haunt them one way or another, or it has something to do with them obtaining their objective with King. The second chapter was all about Eugene and his family, which was one of the characters. Eugene is one of the player characters, mind you. He used to be a torturer for a syndicate before he dropped that life because his syndicate failed or whatever. He wants to keep his family safe. What happened is that someone that I created had survived being tortured, and he had a grudge with Eugene. And he located Eugene after Eugene appeared on the news. He kidnapped his family, and the entire dungeon, entire canto, if you want to call it, was about getting Eugene's family back and then getting them under protection, which was very cool. Along together with this guy that wanted revenge for Eugene for his torture came Martin, the brother of another character. And wouldn't you know, the guy that survived the torture, the one that wanted revenge on Eugene, was with the middle. The brother of one of the characters also was with the middle. To save Eugene's family, the players had to cross the middle. They discovered that the middle was hiding out in the, secret hideout in a district, and that district was mostly controlled by the FUMB. But they had someone to rescue, just ratting them out to the FUMB and saying, hey, what the fuck? Oh well. Just ratting them out to the FUMB was going to be a bad idea, because the FUMB would not go into the hideout looking to take survivors or rescue anyone. They would just shoot things up. So they had to go to this hideout, fight members of the middle, which would, of course, get them in the Book of Vengeance. Merso, come on! Would inevitably get him in the Book of Vengeance to rescue Eugene's family. And in there, they discovered that the brother of another character that was in the party was also in the middle. And so it creates this lasagna of fuck-ups.
네가 새로운 실험체냐?
I get it, Gregor. You're very angry. You're very angry at Heathcliff.
네가 새로운 실험체냐?
Oh. It got the short end of the stick in this turn, huh? Alright.
탈출 개체 확인.
Tabletop, very fun. Go play it. Go have fun. Go have fun. Fun is fun. It's especially fun because you can do whatever you want. As long as your GM is cool with it and it's not a railroading type. It's a mess of a campaign. It just gets messier and messier because every character has a background with things that I can use against them, and we'll come back to Hawking. For example, this character that discovered that his brother was in the middle, he was nest born. He was born in the nest, and for reasons unknown, he and his family had to be relocated to the backstreet. But the more they investigate about his past, the more they discover there's something more. Like, they discovered recently that he had a lock in his memories. Well, part of his memories have literally been locked up. He doesn't remember them. He can't remember them. Someone put a lock into his memories, and he doesn't know why. As far as you know, his life in the nest was just like normal. He went to college. He got a nice education. He decided to be a fixer because he was an innocent guy and thought fixers meant someone that fixes things and not, you know, mercenary for hire. And so he's completely unused to violence, especially that of the backstreets. And then he discovered that his brother is a member of the middle. A brother that left home being called a bum and a irresponsible, pardon the word, an irresponsible sack of shit. And so it comes as a surprise to him because why would you do that? And the brother say that father and mother are full of shit as well, and you wouldn't understand, vague posting his way, saying like, you were the cause of all this, and, you know, emotional stuff like that. So he's now trying to discover what the fuck happened. Why is my brother in the middle? Why did he leave home? Why did we get sent to the back streets? Why do I have a lock in my memories? What is going on with me? Especially because initial investigations should go like this. It is not unusual for someone to be kicked out of a nest, either they lose favor or something, but usually when someone gets kicked out of a nest for whatever reason, there are records of it, even publicly or not. He would be able to access them, right? He's a very powerful man, so he could say, contact someone in the nest, say, hey, can you look up this family for me and see what happened, that they got kicked out? And when they do that to try to figure out why his family was kicked out of the nest, and they find nothing, they found no logs whatsoever about his family, that raises some questions. Because wings are bureaucratic by nature. You again. Right, Sai, hello. Souvenir and leave. Yeah. So, the rings are very bureaucratic by nature. They're corporations. They want to keep track of stuff. Oh, hey, no, don't take the sword. I'm at the end of my dungeon. I would love to take those cursed eagles, but end of the dungeon, can't take it. So, when... again, wing is bureaucratic by nature. They keep records of everything. If someone got every record deleted and they worked for the wing, that raises some questions. Why did that happen? What are you hiding? If someone fucked up to the level of they got all their shit deleted and corporations try to cover it up, why are they still alive? Why are they living the back streets? It's not like they're hiding or anything. They are literally working publicly. They are walking about. They're not hiding for the corporation. So it's not like they fucked up and the corporation wanted to get rid of them and bury all of this, remove all records of their existence. No, they are out and about. So what's going on here? No one knows. They will know when the time comes for their canto. Better yet, this is a recent development, but I'll continue anyway. Better yet, the brother that joined the middle so that they could investigate exactly what happened. And as soon as he and the middle started investigating what's going on, a lot with the middle way of being a lot less gentle about asking things, J-Corp, enforcers from J-Corp, started showing up. They started stalking the brother that is in the middle. Of course, they couldn't very well touch him because he's in the middle. That's going to be a difficult thing. But yeah, you started investigating, and suddenly fighters from the wing started showing up and stalking you. Some of them even attempted to attack you. Something is going on. Something is happening. Well, what is going on? We don't know, but we're gonna find out. We're gonna find out when it's his Kanto, and all those things that are buried in the past are gonna come up, bubble up, and they're gonna have to deal with it. For now, he's only getting little nuggets of stuff that I have planned for him. He discovered that he has a specific tattoo on their neck that they didn't know they got it. They thought it was like a birthmark or something. At this point, it's more on them, not gonna lie. Somehow, when we started this campaign, I said to them, hey, I want to make a campaign that is like Limbus Company, where your past is it's going to be very focused on your character. So, do you give me authorization to make shit up for your backstory? Because you gave me your backstory, like the baseline of it. Can I make shit up? And they said yes. All right. If they said yes, I have their consent. That means I'm going to make shit up for their campaign, for their character background. That is going to come back to haunt them, and they're going to have to roll with the punches.
대체가 약화되는 것 같습니다.
They allowed me to do that, and I did that. I did that for every other character except one that died because the player didn't want to play that character anymore and decided to throw him in the trash. But even so, I turned his body into a boss fight. This particular character was from my friend Vin. He had a prosthetic arm that was organic in nature, not bug like Gregor, but think about Nero Devil May Cry 4, I think, where he has the arm that pulls things, you know? He had an arm like that. And during the Rat King fight, the Rat King campaign, the arm was slowly waking up and it was talking to him. Whenever he went into a panic or something specific happened, the arm would talk to him and would try to communicate with him. Of course, the character died. This is a closed story, but I will tell you this whole story right now. The father of this character was a workshop meister, or whatever you want to call it. He was high-grade workshop worker. His son was poised to, learn the tricks of the trade, learn the workshop, etc. His father was very into experimental technology, and he managed to secure a backroom deal to get a piece of an abnormality. He made backroom deals. There's under the hood, someone from a lobotomy corporation branch decided to make a little extra and try to sell something that he really shouldn't have. But his father managed to buy a piece of an abnormality, and he was poking and prodding to see, can I turn this into a weapon? Can I turn this into a piece of technology that I can use? And he was doing that. It was going well. It was very experimental, but the guy had the skills to try and make something out of it. Problem. The pianist happened. Can you guess where the workshop was located? Yeah. What happened is the pianist did his thing, the district got flattened, and the character survived, but the workshop and his family didn't. They all got smudged up into dust. Now, how the character survived is unclear, but when he came back to his senses, he had lost his arm, and he had the piece of the abnormality mimicking as his arm. It wasn't nothing there, mind you. And so he survived. He had to contend for himself from now on. He had to do things by himself. And he became a fixer, started the whole, Morning Sun, and he was, getting along. He was using the arm. He didn't question where the arm came from. He just had it. So, yeah, it was going. I had more things planned for it. The idea was that the arm was going to be a weapon that evolved according to his decisions, and it would slowly try to take over his body if he allowed to. It was something, you know, bad that was going to happen if he allowed. It would distort or something. Think like Gregor turning into Roach King, you know? I had all this planned. I had a lot of, like, if something happens, you have to roll a test to see what happens after that. Yada yada, depending on your decisions, something's gonna happen. The weapon would evolve in a different way if you collaborated with it or you rejected it. Yes, etc. But he decided to give up the character had to die.
대체가 약화되는 것
The plot
같습니다.
was thickening because it was going to something like this. Oh my. We lost an eagle, damn it. Something like this. Before they entered the Rat King Fortress, he was approached by a grade 3 or grade 2 fixer that was a bounty hunter. The guy said, hey, so there's this scientist and he's really, really interested in your arm. Too much, in fact. And he gathered up some people that had contracts with your father for weapons that are not going to be delivered. And together with the UPI Association, they said they're preparing a note to send to you saying that you have to compensate them for the funds they invested into the weapons on your father's workshop. And if you don't pay on time, they are going to, you know, take everything you own and more, so that you can pay them back, because, you know, they paid for the weapons, they paid for the contract. It's too bad that the pianist happens. You know, shit happens, but we want our money back. We don't care if your entire family died. If you cannot pay us back or give us the weapon that we're promised, we will have everything that you own is going to be ours, including your body parts. Specifically your body parts. And that's why I'm here. Being a bounty hunter does not afford me a lot of, you know, moral ambiguity, but I noticed that something was really wrong about this guy. He was really wanted to push the fact that they're literally going to repurpose even your body and your body parts. They're gonna give you cheap prosthetics in place of your body parts. They're literally gonna sell your body for money, and something is fucking with that, you know? So the contract is still not up. I'm just coming here to tell you that, yeah, this is happening, to let you know, because I think it's really unfair to come here and say, hey, you owe us like 5 quadrillion M, good luck paying us. So he got fair warning from this guy that was really a standing guy for a bounty hunter, but then the player did not want to play with that character anymore and he dumped it. So what happened is the character got killed off screen. He tried to run away. The bounty hunter got to him, chopped off his head, and took the body back to the scientist. The scientist got his hand and started, you know, experimenting on it. Originally, that scientist was in that backroom deal to obtain this piece of an abnormality, but couldn't get it out of his father. It's like his father bought it before he could do anything. We heal everyone for the next fight. Let's heal Heathcliff to max, because he's currently not doing okay. That was the plot I had ready for him, but he decided not to play with the character anymore, so I had to, can it. I still turned him into a boss fight. The scientist bit off more than he could chew, quite literally, and the arm took over the dead body. The dead body was now a boss fight. They had to fight. It was a fun boss fight. They abused the mechanic a little bit there, and I allowed them to, fortunately. But, you know, it's what it's. Sometimes you just have to accept that the players don't want to go the way you want things to go, especially in that dungeon where they avoided every single combat encounter and went straight for the boss. But it was fun. It was very nice. Alright, let's see. I have a UPS, but I do not have wrist guards. Enough about the tabletop. I could yap about this for a long time, and I still could, and I would have a lot of fun talking about it. Oh, damn it. No wish making, no starlight. It's garbage, this is garbage, this is garbage. Use it. There we go, we got what we wanted. We maxed it out for maximum damage. Rebate token, my beloved. What else we got here? We could get Emerald Lighter for a little bit of poise. Yeah, this run is kind of cuffed. Dark type gauntlets. Ooh, lowest star, hell yeah. Alright, let's finish this. Let's finish this Stogie. It's on its last things. Pierce, Blunt, and Pierce, Sloth, and Wrath. I wonder what could it be. Ah, we get to play the gimmick. All right, here we go, gentlemen. Go reduce its coin power. I don't want that thing to have coin power. It screams for ice cream. -4 coin power. I like that very much. All right. We have to play the gimmick here, so let's play the gimmick. This thing is very low, man. We still don't have the coin power for the coin power. The slots to clash properly, which sucks. All right, time to say goodbye to your coin power, buddy. Zero coin power. So I didn't think of this team before. It's alright. Like I said, they're very good against the enemy that has single body part, but without support from a mainline fighter, a proper, unit that isn't like 3 0-0s and a Walpurg is 1 000 ID, they don't do a lot of damage, but they can certainly, certainly dish it out. Because if the enemy cannot do anything other than fail its clashes, well, the enemy can't do anything. Because look at it. -5 coin power. That is insane. It's rolling zeros. It only has base power. And that's going to keep happening. Alright, my cigar is unfortunately over. It was a cheap cigar. What can you do? Now I am going to prepare myself for our book reading. Hell yeah. Stretch. Ooh, we got a new subscriber. Thank you, whoever you are. You are subscribing in stealth mode. Thank you very much. It helps a lot. Oh, what a yap session this has been about the tabletop. I just love playing the damn thing. I wish I could play more times during the week, but my friends are all busy because, the bane of every tabletop group is scheduling, unfortunately. With actually to Black Attack Paradox to get diminishing returns on coin power. Sort of. Coin power affect every coin on the enemy. So they only have base power. If you have attack power down, that's even better. But yeah. We're paralyzed, that's right. How about we burn the paralysis off first, huh? Dominating. You don't really get a lot of diminishing returns on coin power. Unless you reduce the enemy coin power to 0, the enemy has only the base power of the skill. Because let's remember, let's see here, skill with multiples. Skill in Limbus has the base power, the coin power, and the number of coins. Every time you roll a coin on heads, you add this power to the base power. If you reduce the coin power, it goes to 0. It only has this number, nothing else. Right now, the Ram has -5 on all coins. That means every single one of his attacks on the coin power here is losing 5. That means we only need to deal with the base number, except for this one that is the +7. So everything here is a 5, 5, a maximum of 7 here, 5, 2, 2, 15. We can clash against those really, really well. The only diminishing returns for coin power is against attacks that have single coin and a lot of base power. So you have the true spectrum, characters that have a lot of base power versus characters that have a lot of coin powers or lot of coin. Something again like, say, Furioso for Rian has a lot of coin reuses. If you lower his coin power, that coin reuse is not going to add any power on the reuses. The only problem here is that these units do not have good offense level up. And so the Ren that has been, gaining offense level as we go through the dungeon can still beat us in a clash because of the offense level difference. If you recall, offense level pretty much means how powerful a character is. Something that was mishandled at the story a few times, but it's still pretty good. It works as intended. Go. Right now it has a -6 coins, so every single coin of his has been neutered. The only thing we have to worry about is its massive 88 offense level. Now, when a clash occurs in Limbus Company, not only are we comparing the base power, the coin power for coins that rolled heads, we're also comparing offense level. Offense level rises with level and with mounting trials in the case of enemies. For every 3 levels of difference in a clash, the character with the highest offense level gains 1 clash power. This is very important to understand because it is only clash power. Of course, offense level also affects how much damage you do, there's also that, but it only affects clash power. If you're not clashing against the enemy, he does not gain the clash power. He still does a lot of damage because offense level, again, dictates how much damage you do. But if you're, say, evading the attack, which is not a clash, he does not get the bonuses from the offense level. Which is, again, very nice.
탈출 개체 확인.
0 coin power. If this has skill with 4 coin power, does not need 5 coin power down. Also, when base power subtracts the total power of coins, better to lower it. Yeah, but this thing is all about reducing the enemy coin power, not about, power down. Also, the base power down, better damage mitigation effect. Sort of, it's still the offense levels that matter here. Sure, 1 extra damage versus coin damage is dangerous. The problem is if the enemy has a lot of coins and they're all powerful, you are in a bad situation. That's why I say never take plus coin on the dungeon, because you're just committing suicide at that point. We no longer has the mark. Stagger next turn, so that makes sure it stays weakened. When a character gets hit in Limbus Company, we compare the offense level of the skill and the defense level of a unit. And the difference dictates whether you're going to do more damage or less damage. So even with a lot of coin power down, if the enemy has a lot of offense level, he is still going to do a lot of damage. Which tends to be the case on the Mirror Dungeon, as usual. Alright, where's the Clawing Hammer? Here we go. Hopeless, because he is... Hopeless. Why it's hopeless? Because of differences. Just sticks a 60. Over it. Hopeless as well. Dominating, 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 dominating. That attack is really powerful. Like, oh, it's electric screaming. That's why he can't beat it. All right, go body sacrifice, honestly. Go. It's a lot better.
탈출 개체 확인.
There are certain eagles and units, even for the base cast, that have power down, base power down. It's very nice. But I still consider coin power stronger, because it is. For every coin power that you have, it's a +1 power. Assuming you roll head, by the way, for your skill. Dogs, you wanna go outside? Go! Go it! Only inflicted 1 coin power on him this turn. But he has infinite bleed, so that's good for us. Who is... There we go. Inflict more coin power on you.
정화.
The thing we have to understand about coin power, that is the most important thing about coin power, is that it applies for every coin. So the more coins an attack has, the more coin power that attack has. Every time he rolls heads, we are adding another instance of that coin power to the attack. IDs with positive coins, which are the majority of them, when they hit an enemy, that means they're not clashing, they're gonna go base power plus 1 coin, and then the second coin, and the third coin. So they go like 5 base power, 2 coin power, 3 coins. So we go 5, roll coin, 7, and then 2, and then 2, and then 2, and so on and so forth. That's why negative coin IDs, they usually hit the same number every time unless they roll heads, because the thing is going to be removing the power of the base power. So minus coin skills have higher base power. Yo, you are paralyzed as fuck, brother. However, 1 plus 1 times the person is only 10 damage, so overall the matters most of the damage that finishes in the actual screen number last influence over defense level. 1, it's not 11, not 10. Sort of. It's a casserole of math that I really don't want to get into. Just for my understanding, point power is always going to be superior to base power unless your base power is something ridiculous. If your base power is something ridiculous, it doesn't matter because it's ridiculously high, so it's just going to hurt a lot. The thing is that most characters in Limbus, most enemies as well, with a few exceptions, with like their ultra mega super blocker attack, rely a lot on coin power to be able to win the clashes. That's why sinking against human enemies is so powerful, because if they cannot use their coins at all, it doesn't matter how much power they have on that coin, because they can't use it, because they're rolling tails all the time. That's something like Wei or what's it called? Babuhat Kin are so powerful because they lower their sanity. Their base power is already incredibly high. They have negative coins. Alright, that was the thing with the negative coin power. They are interesting. If the enemy does not have coin power, he only has base power. And again, it's very nice. It's very nice. It lacks a little spice though. They are perfectly capable of debuffing the enemy to hell and back. As we have seen, that ship was rolling nothing but its base power. And unless we were paralyzed, we're not losing any clashes. But it lacks, you could complement this team with someone with high damage to make use of all these negative effects that we're applying on the enemy. And since it's a mixed team, mostly focused on bleed and tremor, you could bring someone from the ring, like say one of the Falvists, to complement the damage and make sure that they never lose a clash. In any case, it is a nice team. I wouldn't use it, mostly because I don't like to use mixed teams. They are a bit of a mess, because you have one guy from the middle, one guy from the Kurokumo, one guy from N-Corp, and one from Lobotomy Corporation. Oh no, we're not even talking about damage affinities right now. We're just talking about base coin, base power, etc, etc. The more coin power, the more coins something have, the harder it's going to hit when it actually hits incrementally. If they have no coin power, they're only hitting their base power, so they have 4, 4, 4, for example. Let's take an ID here and take a look, for example. Let's take a look at Faust here. So her skill tree has a 3 base power and 5 coin power. So when she clashes, we roll all our coins and we add the coin power to the base power, and that the final result is our clash result. So 3, 5, 5, 5. That is a nice 18. If we decrease the coin power by 1, it becomes a +4, so it becomes 3, 4, 4, 4, and now it is a 15, and then we reduce another coin power, That's the last 3 power it has, assuming again we hit all tails, all heads, sorry. And so on and so forth. If we reduce the coin power to 0, she has 3, and that's it for the clash. On the hit, she hits 3, 3, 3, 3, no matter if she roll tails or heads. Again, that's why sinking is so powerful, because we eliminate the coin power entirely by making the enemy always roll tails. Now, when you're getting hit, you're going to get hit by 3 plus 5, and then plus 5, and then plus 5. That's why coin power is dangerous, because it adds to the power when you're getting hit, and then we take the affinities for blunt and wrath, multiply it accordingly, and take the offense level bonus as well, and etc, etc. The more you can affect the base numbers of a skill, the more you're going to affect the whole calculation of hitting the enemy with getting hit or winning a clash or gaining against the enemy. That's why I always say when you're doing Mirror Dungeon Extreme and you're forced to choose, say, final power, base power, clash power, you should take clash power, because clash power is not affecting the damage, just the clash. Or offense level, which you can reduce into a fucking puddle with the right ego gifts as well. It is very powerful. It's a very rare debuff for a reason, but yeah, the optimal would be take Endcorp Kleinhammer with a plus coin drop of 2 on his skill 2, even though it's a single coin. KK Gregor is only on the skill 3 and only applies 1 plus coin drop, while Faust here has 1 plus coin drop, but it is on a skill 2 that has an AoE. That means you can apply this debuff to multiple enemies. I would prefer to run Faust and Heathcliff Kleinhammer here for maximum usage of plus coin drop, and then fuel up the team with something else. That would be good for, say, a Tremor Bleed team, because we have 2 units, 1 Tremor, 1 Bleed, and then we fill up the team with the rest of the cast. The middle little brother needs the enemy to be marked with Vengeance Mark. It's again 1 plus coin drop. Gregor has the advantage of his skill 3 applying offense level down, 3 levels? No, 4 levels of it, which will affect the clash power as well. But it has the conditional that the target has to have 7 plus bleed, which is very easy to get on the Mirror Dungeon itself. Just, you know, I prefer, if I can use it with no conditionals, like Kleinhammer, Heathcliff, I would just use that. It's just 2 points coin drop as long as you hit head, and assuming he is using a Endcorp team, he's going to be a max standard at all time. And Faust has an AoE that can apply this to everyone. Well, everyone, 2 targets at the same time with a very easy application. No conditionals at all, just hit the enemy plus coin drop. That's what I would prefer. All right, that is the team for today. We are now going to do our dramatic book reading. Now, my friends, if you're here for gameplay of the Mirror Dungeon, that is the end of it. Now we are going to do nerd shit. We are going to do book reading. I am going to go get some water, because I'm quite thirsty for yapping all this time. When I come back, we're gonna get to the book reading. I'm gonna set it up just a second. And book reading. There we go. Yep. I'm gonna get some water and I'll be right back. Water acquired. Anyway, as to why, again, oh, hold on, that's what the fuck? Anyway, as to why I would choose, again, Endcorp, Kleinhammer, and Faust is because their coin drops are applied on the second skill. And the second skill comes more often than skill 3. Skill 3 is your power skill, and you only have 1 until you exhaust all your other skills, so I would choose those 2. If you want to bring the plus coin minus effect to your team, I would recommend Faust and Heathcliff. Anyway, last time on Crime and Punishment. Now, Raskolnikov's mother and sister came to visit him. He knew this was going to happen, but he forgot. They insisted to stay with him, but he sent them away. Razumikin, his big friend, being all charming and all that, convinced their mother and sister to go somewhere else while Raskolnikov recovered. If you don't recall, Raskolnikov did commit the crime. He killed the moneylender, but he also killed the sister, which had nothing to do with his crime. He managed to get away with it, left behind no trace, no evidence of his crime, and he is kind of going nuts because he wants to tell someone that he did it. And, well, everything is going bad. Everything is going bad for him. He really is going nuts. All right, here we go. I'm going to mute Limbus, and now we're going to do the book reading only. Here we go. Chapter 2. Razumikin woke up next morning at 8 o'clock, troubled and serious. He found himself confronted with many new and unforeseen difficulties. He had never expected that he would ever wake up feeling like that. He remembered every detail of the previous day, and he knew that a perfectly novel experience had happened to him, that he had received an impression unlike anything he had known before. At the same time, he recognized clearly that the dream which had fired his imagination was hopelessly unattainable, so unattainable that he felt ashamed of it, and he moved on quickly to the other more practical cares and difficulties bequeathed him by that thrice accursed yesterday. The most awful memory of the previous day was the way he had shown how base and mean he was, not only because he had been drunk, but because he had taken advantage of the young girl's position to abuse her fiancé in his stupid jealousy, knowing nothing of their mutual relations and obligations, and next to nothing of the man himself. And what right did he have to criticize him in that hasty and unguarded way? Who had asked for his opinion? Was it thinkable that a girl like Avdotya Romanovna would be marrying an unworthy man for money? So there must be something else to him. The lodgings? But after all, how could he know anything about the character of the lodgings? He was furnishing an apartment. How despicable it all was. And what justification was it that he was drunk? A stupid excuse like that was even more degrading. In wine is truth, and the truth had all come out. That is, all the uncleanness of his coarse and envious heart. And would such a drink ever be permissible to him? Razumikin? What was he compared to a girl like that? He, the drunken, noisy braggart of last night. Was it possible to imagine such an absurd and cynical juxtaposition? Razumikin blushed desperately at the very idea, and suddenly the recollection forced itself vividly upon him of how he had said last night on the stairs that the landlady would be jealous of Avdotya Romanovna. That was simply intolerable. He brought his fist down heavily on the kitchen stove, hurt his hands, and sent one of the bricks flying. Of course, he muttered to himself a minute later with a feeling of self-abasement. Of course, all the bad deeds can never be wiped out or smoothed over, and so it's useless even to think of it, and I must go to that in silence and do my duty, in silence too, and not ask forgiveness and say nothing. Now all is lost. And yet, as he dressed, he examined his clothing more carefully than usual. He hadn't got another suit. If he had, perhaps he wouldn't have put it on. I would have made a point of not putting it on. But in any case, he could not remain a dirty cynic. He had no right to offend the feelings of others, especially when they needed his help and kept asking him to see them. He brushed his clothes carefully. His dress was always decent. In that respect, he was specially clean. He washed carefully that morning. He got some soap from Nastasia. He washed his hair, his neck, and especially his hands. When it came to the question of whether or not to shave his stubby chin, Praskovya Pavlovna had excellent razors that had been left by her late husband, the question was angrily answered in the negative. Let it stay as it is. What if they think that I shaved on purpose? They would definitely think so, not on my account. And the worst of it was he was so coarse, so dirty, his manners came straight from the drinking house. And even admitting that he knew he had some of the essentials of a gentleman, what was there to be proud about that? Everyone ought to be a gentleman, and more than that, and all the same, he remembered. He too had done little things, not exactly dishonest, and yet what thoughts he sometimes had. And to set it all aside beside Avdotya Romanovna. Damn it, so be it. Well, make a point then of having dirty, greasy drinking house manners and he wouldn't care. It'd be worse. He was engaged in these monologues when Zosimov, who had spent the night in Praskovia Pavlovna's parlor, came in. He was going home and was in a hurry to look at the invalid first. Razumikin informed him that Raskolnikov was sleeping like a dormouse. Zosimov gave orders for Dan not to wake him and promised to see him again at about 11. If he's still at home, he added, damn it, if you can't control your patients, how can you cure them? Do you know whether he will go to then or whether they are coming here? They're coming, I think, said Razumikin, understanding the point of the question. And no doubt they'll discuss their family affairs. I'll be off. You, as the doctor, have more right to be here than I do. But I am not a father confessor. I shall come and go away. Plenty to do besides looking after them. One thing worries me, interposed Razumikin, frowning. On the way home, I talked a lot of drunken nonsense to him. All sorts of things, including that you were afraid that he might go mad. You told the lady so too. I know, it was stupid. You can beat me if you like. Did you seriously think so? Nonsense, how could I? You described him yourself as a monomaniac when you fetched me to take a look at him. And we added a few to the fire yesterday. You did, that is, with your story about the painter. It was a nice conversation, given that it was a point he might have been particularly crazy about. If only I'd known what happened at the police station and that some wretch had insulted him with suspiciousness. I would not have allowed that conversation yesterday. These monomaniacs will make a mountain out of a molehill and see their fantasies as solid realities. As far as I remember, it was Zametov's story that, in my opinion, cleared up half the mystery. I know one case in which a hypochondriac, a man of 40, cut the throat of a little boy of 8 because he couldn't endure the jokes he made every day at the table. And in this case, his rags, the insolent police officer, the fever and the suspicion, all that working on a man half frantic with hypochondria and with his morbidly exceptional vanity, that may have been the starting point of illness. Anyway, it all can go to hell. And by the way, that Zametov is certainly pleasant, but shouldn't have told us that last night. He's a real chatterbox. But who did he tell it to? You and me. And Porphyry. What does that matter? And by the way, do you have any influence over them? His mother and sister? Tell them to be more careful with him today. They'll get on all right, Razumikin answered reluctantly. Why is he so set against this losing? A man with money, and she doesn't seem to dislike him. They haven't got a penny, I suppose. But what business is it of yours? Razumikin cried with annoyance. How can I tell whether they got any money? Ask them yourself, and perhaps you'll find out. God, what an idiot you are sometimes. Last night's wine hasn't worn off yet. Well, goodbye. Thank you, Praskovia Pavlovna, from me for my night's lodging. She locked herself in, made no reply to my greeting through the door. She was up at 7 o'clock. The samovar was taken in to her from the kitchen. I was not granted a personal interview. At 9 o'clock precisely, Razumikin reached the lodgings at Bakalaev's house. Both ladies were waiting for him with nervous impatience. They had got up at 7 o'clock or earlier. He entered looking as black as night, bowed awkwardly and was at once furious with himself for it. He had reckoned without his host. Pulcheria Alexandrovna rushed at him, seized him by both hands, and was almost kissing them. He glanced timidly at Avdotya Romanovna, but at that moment her proud face bore an expression of such gratitude and friendliness, such complete and unexpected respect, instead of sneering looks and badly disguised contempt, that it threw him into greater confusion than if he had been met with abuse. Fortunately, there was a subject for conversation, and he was quick to snatch at it. When she heard that everything was going well and that Rodia had not yet woken up, Pulcheria Alexandrovna announced that she was glad, because there was something which she has absolutely had to discuss beforehand. Then followed up an inquiry about breakfast and an invitation to have it with them. They had waited for him before they started. Avdotya Romanovna rang the bell. It was answered by a ragged, dirty waiter, and they asked him to bring tea, which was served at last, but in such a dirty and disorderly way that the ladies were ashamed. Razumikin vigorously attacked the lodgings, but, remembering Luzin, stopped in embarrassment, was greatly relieved by Pulcheria Alexandrovna's questions, which showered in a continuous string upon him. He talked for 3/4 of an hour, being constantly interrupted by their questions, and succeeded in describing to them all the most important facts he knew of the last year of Raskolnikov's life, concluding with circumstantial account of his illness. However, he omitted many things which were better omitted, including the scene at the police station with all its consequences. They listened eagerly to his story, but when he thought he had finished and satisfied his listeners, he realized that they reckoned he had hardly begun. Tell me, what do you think? Excuse me, I still don't know your name, Pulcheria Alexandrovna put in quickly. Dmitry Prokofich. I should like very, very much to know Dmitry Prokofich, how he looks on things in general. Now, that is, how can I explain? What are his likes and dislikes? Is he always so irritable? Tell me, if you can, what hopes and, so to speak, dreams do you think he has? What influences him now? In other words, I would like to... Mother, how can he answer all that at once? Observed Dunya. Good heavens, I had not expected to find him in the least like this, Dmitry Prokofich. Naturally, answered Razumikin, I have no mother, but my uncle comes every year, and almost every time he can scarcely recognize me, even in appearance, though he is a clever man, and your 3-year separation means a great deal. What can I tell you? I have known Rodion for a year and a half. He is gloomy, proud, and disdainful. And recently, although perhaps he's been like this for a while, he had become suspicious and almost absorbed in his fantasies. He has a noble nature and a kind heart. He does not like showing his feelings and would rather do a cruel thing than open his heart freely. Sometimes, though, he is not at all morbid, just cold and inhumanly callous. It's as though he were alternating between two characters. Sometimes he is extremely reserved. He says he's so busy that everything gets in his way, and yet he lies in bed doing nothing. He doesn't jeer at things, not because he hasn't got the intelligence, but as though he hasn't got the time to waste on such unimportant issues. He never listens to what people say to him. He's never interested in what interests other people at any given moment. He thinks very highly of himself, and perhaps he's right. Well, what more? I think your arrival will have a very beneficial influence on him. God grant it may, cried Pulcheria Alexandrovna, upset by Razumikin's account of her Rodia. And Razumikin ventured to look more boldly at Avdotya Romanovna at last. He glanced at her often while he was talking, but only for a moment and looked away again at once. Avdotya Romanovna sat at the table, listening attentively, then got up again and began walking to and fro with her arms folded and her lips compressed, occasionally putting in a question without stopping her walk. She had the same habit of not listening to what was said. She was wearing a dress of thin, dark stuff, and she had a white, transparent scarf around her neck. Razumikin soon detected signs of extreme poverty in their belongings. Had Avdotya Romanovna been dressed like a queen, he felt that he would not be afraid of her, but perhaps just because she was poorly dressed and that he noticed all the misery of her surroundings, his heart was filled with dread, and he began to be afraid of every word he uttered, every gesture he made, which was very trying for a man who already felt diffident. You've told us many interesting things about my brother's character, and have told it impartially. I'm glad. I thought that you were too uncritically devoted to him, observed Avdotya Romanovna with a smile. I think you're right that he needs a woman's care, she added thoughtfully. I didn't say so, but I suppose you're probably right, only... What? He loves no one, and perhaps he never will, Razumikin declared decisively. You mean he's not capable of love? Do you know, Avdotya Romanovna, you are awfully like your brother in every way, in fact, he blurted out suddenly to his own surprise, but remembering at once what he had just said about her brother, he turned as red as a crab and was overcome with confusion. Avdotya Romanovna couldn't help laughing when she looked at him. You may both be mistaken about Rodia, Pulcheria Alexandrovna remarked, slightly offended. I'm not talking about our current difficulties, Dunya. What Peter Petrovich writes in his letter and what you and I have supposed may be mistaken. But you can't imagine Dmitry Porkovich, how moody and, so to speak, capricious he is. I could never depend on what he would do when he was only 15, and I am sure that he might do something now that nobody else would think of doing. Well, for instance, do you know how a year and a half ago he astounded me and gave me a shock that nearly killed me, when he had the idea of marrying that girl. What was her name? His landlady's daughter. Oh, did you hear about that affair? Asked Avdotya Romanovna. Do you suppose, Pulcheria Alexandrovna continued warmly, do you suppose that my tears, my pleas, my illness, my possible death from grief, or poverty would have made him pause? No, he would calmly have disregarded all obstacles, and yet it isn't that he doesn't love us. He has never spoken a word about that to me, Razumikin answered cautiously. But I did fear something from Praskovia Pavlovna herself, though she is by no means a gossip, and what I heard simply was rather strange. And what did you hear? Both ladies asked at once. Well, nothing very special. I only learned that the marriage, which only failed to take place through the girl's death, was not at all to Praskovia Pavlovna's liking. They say too the girl was not at all pretty. In fact, I'm told positively ugly, and such an invalid and also strange. But she seems to have some good qualities. She must have had some good qualities, or it's quite inexplicable. She had no money either, and he wouldn't have taken her money into account, but it's always difficult to judge with these things. I'm sure she was a good girl, Avdotya Romanovna observed briefly. God forgive me, I simply rejoiced at her death, though I do not know which of them would have caused more misery to the other, he to her or she to him, Pulcheria Alexandrovna concluded. Then she began questioning him tentatively about the scene on the previous day with losing, hesitating and continually glancing at Dunya, obviously to the latter's annoyance. This incident evidently made her more uneasy, perhaps even more disturbed than all the rest. Razumikin described it in detail again, but this time he had his own conclusions. He openly blamed Raskolnikov for intentionally insulting Peter Petrovich, and did not attempt to excuse him because of his illness. He had planned it before his illness, he added. I think so too, Pulcheria Alexandrovna agreed with a dejected air, but she was very surprised to hear Razumikin express himself so carefully and even respectfully when he was discussing Peter Petrovich. Avdotya Romanovna, too, was struck by it. So, this is your opinion of Peter Petrovich? Pulcheria Alexandrovna could not resist asking. I can have no other opinion of your daughter's future husband, Razumikin answered firmly and with warmth. And I don't say it simply for vulgar politeness, but simply because Avdotya Romanovna has, of her own free will, decided to accept this man. If I spoke so rudely of him last night, it was because I was disgustingly drunk, and mad, besides. Yes, mad, crazy. I lost my head completely, and this morning I am ashamed of it. He crimsoned and stopped speaking. Avdotya Romanovna flushed but did not break the silence. She had not uttered a word from the moment they started talking about losing. Without her support, Pulcheria Alexandrovna obviously did not know what to do. At last, faltering and continually glancing at her daughter, she confessed that she was extremely worried by one thing in particular. You see, Dmitri Prokofitch, she began, can I be open with Dmitri Prokofitch, Dunya? Of course, mother, said Avdotya Romanovna emphatically. This is what it is, she began quickly as though a weight had been lifted from her mind because she was finally allowed to talk about her troubles. Very early this morning, we got a note from Peter Petrovich in reply to our letter announcing our arrival. He promised to meet us at the station. Instead, he sent a servant to bring us the address of these lodgings and to show us the way. And he sent a message that he would be here himself this morning. But this morning, this note came from him. Better read it yourself. There is one point in which worries me very much. You will soon see what it is. And tell me frankly, what do you think, Dmitri Prokofitch? You know Rodia's character better than anyone, and no one can advise us better than you can. Dunya, I should tell you, made her decision at once, but I still don't feel sure how to act, and I've been waiting for your opinion. Razumikin opened the note, which was dated the previous evening, and read as follows. Dear Madam Pulcheria Alexandrovna, I have the honor to inform you that owing to unforeseen obstacles I was rendered unable to meet you at the railway station. I sent a very competent person with the same object in view. I likewise shall be deprived of the honor of an interview with you tomorrow morning by business in the Senate that does not admit of delay, and also that I may not intrude on your family circle while you are meeting your son. And Avdotya Romanovna, her brother, I shall have the honor of visiting you and paying you my respect at your lodgings not later than tomorrow evening at 8 o'clock precisely. And herewith I venture to present my earnest and, may add, imperative request that Rodion Romanovich may not be present at our interview, as he offered me a gross and unprecedented assault on the occasion of my visit to him in his illness yesterday. And moreover, since I desire from you personally an indispensable explanation of a certain point, about which I wish to have your own opinion. I have the honor to inform you in anticipation that if, in spite of my request, I meet Rodion Romanovich, I shall be compelled to withdraw immediately, and then you have only yourself to blame. I write on the assumption that Rodion Romanovich, who appeared so ill when I visited, suddenly recovered 2 hours later, and may visit you also. I was confirmed in that belief by witnessing him with my own eyes in the residence of a drunken man who was run over and has since died. He gave 25 rubles to his daughter, a young woman of notorious behavior, under the pretext of contributing to the funeral, which gravely surprised me knowing what pains you took to raise that sum. I hereby give you my special regards to your estimable daughter, Evdokia Romanovna, and I beg you to accept the respectful homage of your humble servant, P. Luzin. What am I to do now, Dmitri Prokofitch? Began Pulcheria Alexandrovna, almost weepy. How can I ask Rodia not to come? Yesterday he insisted so earnestly that we should refuse Peter Petrovitch, and now we are ordered not to invite Rodia. He will come on purpose if he knows, and what will happen then? Actum Avdotias Romanovna's decision, Razumiki answered calmly at once. Oh dear, she says, goodness knows what she says, she hasn't explained it. She says that it would be best, at least not that it would be best, but it's absolutely necessary that Rodia should make a point of being here at 8 o'clock, and that they just must meet. I didn't even want to show him the letter. I wanted to prevent him from coming somehow with your help, because he's so irritable. Besides, I don't understand about that drunkard who died and that daughter, how he could have given that daughter all the money for which you sacrificed so much, put in Avdotia Romanovna. He was not himself yesterday, Razumiki said thoughtfully. If you only knew what he was up to in the restaurant yesterday, though there was sense in it too. He did say something as we were going home yesterday evening about a dead man and a girl, but I didn't understand a word. But last night, I, myself... The best thing, Mother, would be for us to go see him ourselves, and there we will definitely understand at once what we should do. Besides, it's getting late. My goodness, it's past 10, she cried, looking at a splendid gold-enameled watch which hung around her neck on a thin Venetian chain, and looked entirely out of keeping with the rest of her dress. A present from her fiancé, Razumiki thought. We must be off, Dunya. We must be off, her mother cried in a flutter. He will think we're still angry after yesterday if we get there so late. Lord have mercy. While she said this, she was hurriedly putting on her hat and mantle. Dunya too put on her things. Her gloves, Razumiki noticed, were not only shabby but had holes in them. And yet this evident poverty gave the two ladies an air of special dignity which is always found in people who know how to wear poor clothes. Razumiki looked reverently at Dunya and felt proud of escorting her. The queen who mended her stockings in prison, he thought, must have looked every inch a queen and even more of a queen than at sumptuous banquets and celebrations. My God, exclaimed Pulcheria Alexandrovna, little did I think I should ever fear seeing my son, my darling, darling Rodia. I'm afraid, Dmitri Prokofitch, she added, glancing at him timidly. Don't be afraid, Mother, said Dunya, kissing her. It's better to trust him. Oh dear, I trust him, but I haven't slept all night, exclaimed the poor woman. They came out into the street. Do you know, Dunya, when I dozed a little this morning, I dreamt of Marfa Petrovna. She was all in white. She came up to me, took my hand, and shook her head at me, but so sternly as though she were blaming me. Is that a good omen? Oh dear, didn't you know, Dmitri Prokofitch, that Marfa Petrovna died? No, I didn't know. Who is Marfa Petrovna? She died suddenly, just think. Afterwards, Mama, put in Dunya, he doesn't know who Marfa Petrovna is. Ah, you don't know, and I was thinking you all knew about us. Forgive me, Dmitri Prokofitch, I don't know what I've been thinking about for these past few days. I'm treating you as our providence, so I took it for granted that you knew all about us. I look on you as a relation. Don't be angry with me for saying so. Dear me, what's the matter with your right hand? Have you knocked it? Yes, I bruised it, muttered Razumiki, overjoyed. I sometimes speak too much from the heart, and Dunya finds fault with me. But, dear me, what a cupboard he lives in. I wonder whether he is awake. Does this woman, his landlady, think it's a proper room? Listen, you say he doesn't like to show his feelings, so perhaps I'll annoy him with my weaknesses? Please advise me, Dmitri Prokofitch. How should I treat him? I feel so distracted. Don't question him too much about anything if you see him frown. Don't ask him too much about his health. He doesn't like that. Ah, Dmitri Prokofitch, how hard it is to be a mother. And here are the stairs. What an awful staircase. Mother, you are so pale. Don't make yourself upset, said Dunya, caressing her. Then, with flashing eyes, she added, I ought to be happy to see you, and you are tormenting yourself so badly. Wait. Wait, I'll look in and see whether he has woken up. The ladies slowly followed Razumiki, who went on in front of them, and when they reached the landlady's door on the 4th floor, they noticed that her door was open a tiny crack, and the two keen black eyes were watching them from the darkness inside. When their eyes met, the door was suddenly shut with such a slam that Pulcheria Alexandrovna almost cried out. And here we stop at chapter 3, or part 3 of Crime and Punishment. We are about halfway done with the book. It's going very well. In any case, that is it for today's stream, my friends. Thank you all so much for being here today with me. If you enjoyed the stream, please recommend it to your friends. But if you didn't, please recommend it to your enemies. Thank you all again so much for being here. If you really like the stream, please leave a like, a comment, a subscribe on YouTube, a follow on Twitch. I'll follow on Twitter as well. The links are in the description below. If you have a team that you would like me to use on the Mirror Dungeon, you can recommend it again on the description below. There's a link for that. Thank you all so very, very much. Sweet kisses and goodbye. Mwah.